You have habits just like me. Talk too much with strangers. Get way too serious around family. used to view you as a mountain that I couldn't climb at first, but I've only stumbled over diamonds, and I no longer fear the worst. Just what I deserve. You were my horizon that I didn't see at first.
Hello and welcome everybody to week 1 of the winter split, I guess, winter spring of NECC Marvel Rivals. My name is Shibby. That's CB next to me. I know you're not used to seeing us together. Usually it's CB and Keg or Shibby and Vaudable, but a little bit of sub action. CB, how are you doing today? We get to cast some collegiate Marvel Rivals. I feel like I've thought out like Mariah Carey.
I'm excited to get back into the saddle, cast a little bit of collegiate Marvel Rivals, even if, you know, some dumb rodent somewhere poked his head out of the ground and said we got 6 more weeks of winter. It means we got at least 6 more weeks of winter esports here to NECC, and I'm ready to kick it off. I think it's more like 8 to 10 weeks. I don't know how long this semester is actually going to be, but I know it starts now, and I'm excited to get to it.
Yeah, we've got a solid matchup, or solid pair of matchups before our first series of the day. We've got UAlbany Esports versus Trent Esports University, or Trent University. The rosters are below us. UAlbany, a bit familiar. We did have them on last semester on the stream here. Pick Tack, Marcus, Gabe, Cloud is Loud, Dark Magic, and Quenchable. On the side of Trent University, this is their first time appearing on stream. We've got Truly Katie, The Milkmaid, White, Pear, Caxel, and Amogus Fart. All right. That's best name, by the way, CB. That's my pick.
I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to do my best to not say their name at all. You feel free. Yeah, but you're going to be play-by-play, so, you know, make sure if, that particular player whose name shall not be spoken makes any big plays, you highlight that one out, and I'm going to omit that one from my analysis. But starting off with the analysis, let's go ahead and analyze this first map pick. We're going to Burn into T'Challa. We got the Celestial Husk and the Hell's Heaven bands. I know you were groaning at the idea of having to go to Hell's Heaven. Well, instead we get to take a little trip to Wakanda.
Yeah, I despise Hell's Heaven. Not my favorite map at all. The environmental changes are not cool. Unlike, though, Burn into T'Challa, I love the environment changes on this map. It changes actually how you attack it. There's some cool like mechanics where you can fly up into the sky. And we've got MRC bans, which is the bans that we've been seeing for pretty much every like professional esports tournament that's been happening in the past like 2 months or so. It's 3 global bans for each side, and then it's 2 global saves for each side. Now, this is technically our first real competitive map, I guess, or competitive match on Season 6. Everything else has been prior to this. So what have you been seeing, CB, at least in the meta, unfolding at the higher ranks?
Well, it's kind of crazy because, like, you know, we have had the community tournaments like the Boger Bash and the J3 Community Clash, where it's been like a little bit different. You get a mix of like pros and amateurs all kind of coming together, and then in those kind of situations, you get a lot of comfort picks. And I think this sort of situation here in Collegiate isn't going to be too different, but a lot of the things you're seeing right now, like a Hella ban and a Gambit ban, you're going to be seeing a lot of that in both the pro play, the mid-tier play, the ranked play, pretty much all across the board. Nobody wants to deal with the King of Thieves right now because despite the nerfs, he's still just that busted.
Yeah, and with him being out of play, we may not have to see Loki being picked up here. I don't know if we'll get a Loki ban. I don't know how tapped in U Albany Gold or Trent University is. I don't know if we're going to be seeing some triple support compositions. The Jeff ban is actually a pretty good ban. A lot of players on Trent University's side have a pocket Jeff. Also kind of annoying to deal with, especially if there's a really good Jeff the Landshark on the enemy team. Enables dive very well, can heal from very far, has a really good game-changing ultimate when landed correctly. So I don't hate that. I think banning Comfort in Collegiate is the move. I know you have to ban sort of hard meta, but it doesn't go as deep as the pro scene. I think Comfort bans are where you should really target your focus.
And again, speaking of the pro scene, one thing that I have seen also kind of cropping up that we're probably not going to see a lot of here, and if we are, that Magneto Protect is going to be rearing its ugly head, is Cloak and Dagger. Since they got the change where they can double up on the Terror Cape, a lot more people have been bringing Cloak and Dagger to the forefront, and even before then, was kind of a comfort pick for a lot of people in the collegiate space. So I'm curious to see if Trent University want to come out with it, especially with an Invis Protect and a Mag Protect on the other side, because those are two of your biggest ops right now if you're trying to bring C&D. So I'm expecting more likely at this stage, unless this last ban is Loki, which it's not, it's Moon Knight, Loki Invis is the optimal backline for both these squads.
Yeah, that's what I would think, especially with that Moon Knight being taken away. The ricochet onto the Loki clones isn't as crazy. You do have the Phoenix being available, which in my opinion, CB is by far the best DPS in the game. I know Daredevil was for a little bit, but I feel like Phoenix bar none is just number one, especially if you can get that, Luna Snow damage boost coming in. It does look like we are going to see some triple support action though, and this is going to be from U Albany's side.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Luna Invis and the Ultron. What's interesting is that Mantis also made it past the ban phase, and neither team is going to opt to go for that in this sort of triple strategist lineup. But nevertheless, you will definitely take it. You get 2 invulnerability ultimates, and then you also have the Rage of Ultron from Samzakai, who's going to be able to set the tempo using that either aggressively or defensively as needed. It's a great versatile ultimate, and that Magneto Protect, like I said, both sides come into the dance floor with their Magnetos, but Milkmaid on the Cloak and Dagger, that's going to be something that I want to focus on. Are we going to see the value of those Terror Capes, or are we going to see a dagger-shaped pancake in the pavement?
Yeah, I mean, with Dark Magic piloting the Magneto, those Meteor M's can be ruthless. I will say, though, as we've gotten further into the seasons, right, it's been a year now since Marvel Rivals has come out, the Cloak and Dagger players are evolving. They aren't just getting hit by Meteor M's anymore. They're dashing into buildings, they're understanding how they can juke it out, they're ulting in their cloak form. There's a lot of different ways you can outplay it here, but we do see this first, at least, poke fight coming out from Trent University and U Albany, and there's that Bucky that I was talking about. Even without the, maybe Loki not being picked, still a very powerful pick. Lots of ways to disrupt and get picks, and, the pull is still a very lethal tool here.
A great job from Trent to be able to control the space there. Good hook, but the bubble is going to dodge the Trooper's Fist, so going to be able to live here. But Trent University in control of the point here, and with a couple more shots coming down range, Trent should be looking to hold on here, potentially even get this KO onto the Ultron, around him with the rest of the team. Not going to happen today, but an early staking their claim on the fight early here for Trent.
Yeah, those voltaic charges can be brutal. Pick Tack did go down early. That's why Trent University has already started picking up that percentage. 25% is really, really quick. That first fight win, absolutely crucial. Although Pick Tack does get a nice, kidnap into their team. Rage of Ultron, like you mentioned, does come in from Samzakai, but it gets easily answered by Pair with that invisible boundary, and that's just going to be easy money for them. And now you see Call, as the Horn of Proteus does get dropped by White onto 2! That's 2 supports already down for you, Albany Golden. You've got to get out of dodge. You've lost that fight immediately.
That's such a great way to turn a fight. Like, it looks so good for you, Albany, off the back of that Rage of Ultron, and you're already taking down Truly Katie before you even let that one rip, but that Horn of Proteus taking down 2 backliners. Suddenly there's nothing more you can do but cut your losses and try and play for the next fight, but now you're going to be down that one crucial ultimate, that Rage of Ultron, so you have to try and use potentially one of your other strategist ultimates aggressively. There's other options here, but I think the optimal play is to try and go for an aggressive Fate of Both Worlds, just like Marcus is doing.
Yeah, we got to combo that Phoenix ultimate here. I would love to see the damage boost coming in. It pretty much nukes everybody. Armed and Dangerous, though, coming in from Call. Milkmaid as well, between both worlds. A lot of ultimates getting thrown, but Dark Magic actually ends up landing the Meteor M. I may have cast cursed them early, because this Cloak and Dagger, unfortunately, does not get out of dodge. And Quenchable and you, Albany Gold, clean up the fight. And CB, a term I like to use from here on out, you, Albany Gold, has to play perfect Marvel Rivals, because Trent University has 90% of the point already captured.
There is an opportunity for a Strange TP, though. That 90% gives you about 10 seconds to get that Doctor Strange out of spawn with the swap and get the portal on point, but it's not going to be an easy window to hit. And even more so than that, Trent University, what they do have to hang their hat on right now is that Sonic Seduction from Truly Katie. You, Albany Gold, had to completely drain the coffers dry to get control at this point at all. So now all Trent has to do is take the initiative, pop that one ult. No, there's nothing that can stop it, and maybe even combo it with another Horn Proteus. We've seen one big whale from White. Will we see another big white whale?
Yeah, Sonic Seduction plus Horn could be the deal breaker. You, Albany Gold, though, Samzukai does have that Rage of Ultron. They're already trying to potentially get on top of him before he can use it. Does end up popping it. Is trying to get bursted down. Horner Proteus actually misses off to the side there, but you, Albany Gold, already lose one of their strategists. Invisible Woman does go down, gets assassinated, and White takes down Pick Tack and Marcus as well. This should be a one fight for you, Albany Gold. As I say that, though, Quenchable has actually picked up Pair, and it's a 4v3 onto the point. Percent is still ticking for you, Albany Gold. Milkmaid picks up Quenchable, and finally, Trent University are able to pick up the point. And just like you pointed out, CB, Pick Tack has swapped over to the Strange. Last fight, last point defense for Trent University.
You can see the way that they're postured for it. Albany Gold were ready, or sorry, Trent University were ready for it. Quenchable going to take down Kyle. An early frag that is going to favor you, Albany Gold, as they try and get this retake there. And Pick Tack with one at the Truly Katie. And I love this angle right now from White with those squids. You, Albany Gold, going to find the flip, and White going to have to give this one up. But a lot of damage coming out. And again, Trent University doing a great job building up to these big money ultimates that they can use to try and win it. 1% left, and you, Albany Gold, off of one more fight, can potentially match it. But again, another uphill battle. The ball, it may not look it, but it's very much in Trent's court.
Yeah, they open up with the fate of both worlds here, as well as the Meteor M unfortunately lands onto the pillar of the environment. Actually ends up trolling Trent University. Marcus is going to pop the ultimate, and Pick Tack, Big Eye of Agamotto, lands onto multiple members, and Trent University are going down very quickly, as we do see the Legendary being popped on top of the Horn. That does take out one. I don't think that's enough, though. Nice Meteor M from Dark Magic, and they're going to take out Trent University. I don't know if they have time for the TP. Overtime is ticking.
And there ain't going to be a Strange TP coming up from Trent University. That Meteor Rem getting caught on the environment was the death nail for Trent. And I don't even know if I agree with the idea to try and use that one aggressively. I would have liked to see them hold on to that one and try and bait some more resources out of you, Albany Gold, and then use the Meteor Rem defensively. You had already invested the Eternal Bond in a very aggressive stance. And alongside a couple Terror Capes, more often than not, that is enough to either get yourself a couple elims or force out a couple resources. We saw that happen, but then you didn't have the Meteor M to try and punish that overinvestment that would inevitably come out from you, Albany Gold, so they don't have to invest, and now they get to come out with two big ultimates over onto the next fight. The momentum from you, Albany Gold, right now, off just the back of that one little misplay, is through the roof.
Yeah, love that for you, Albany here. Samzukai has that Rage of Ultron, Quenchable as well. Big DPS ultimate, a lot on their shoulders, right? 8 final hits. They are the sole DPS, and you don't have a Mantis, like you mentioned, damage boosting you. So you've just got to rely pretty much solely on your mechanics. You get the occasional damage boost from the Ultron drone if you're in the range of it. Other than that, though, a lot rests on you, Albany and Quenchable, just consistently picking up these elims, which they have been doing so far. But Trent University have swapped over to more shield breaker-ish composition, although with no Magneto to bubble Caxel, I just feel like he's going to be fish food to Dark Magic on that Meteor M.
Especially with the, the high ground advantage right now. Caxel can't really play anywhere where he wants to, so under a lot of duress right now. Invisible Boundary is going to ease the pressure just a little bit, but we don't have control of the point yet through Trent, so now that Rage of Ultron going to come out. Good punish coming out from the Milkmaid, though, and that might be enough to secure the point, but they have to weather the storm, and a storm is indeed coming in the form of that End Song Inferno from Quenchable. Marcus is there with another cleanup KO as well, and Trent might have just been shunted from the point there. Again, you, Albany Gold, coming into this fight with an ult advantage and able to leverage it as such and come out ahead.
My biggest issue with Trent is that they're so hasty on using these strategist ultimates. I get it. You want to, up the tempo. You want to try to get onto point. You want to force them off, get your team some healing. But now you don't have it for some of these big, offensive ultimates coming out from you, Albany. You would have loved to have that invisible boundary when that Endsong Inferno comes down. But now you have to fight out of your spawn, out of here. You're going to probably have to invest a couple resources, and Pictac flying in the sky around and looking for that Eye of Agamotto drop. I don't think Albany knows.
And they definitely didn't see it coming, but a good react from Marcus with the snowball there, finds the freeze and has the fate of both worlds to keep everybody alive. The dance floor is out, and White did not bring the tap shoes today, but Quenchable says, don't worry, I'll lead, I got you. And Trent gonna be led right back down the stairs, again forced into the choke, and that is one ult, and again, UAlbany able to hold on.
Sonic Seduction did come out from Trent University, but goes down pretty much immediately, and Caxel just has not been having a fun time here. Dark Magic does have that Meteor M available. They're going to have to be very careful when they walk out here. You need that Strange Shield. You need that Invisible Boundary. One of those two to help you out. Here comes Meteor M. Actually ends up using it onto Milkmaid. So Caxel gets a free Final Judgment, but it doesn't matter because Gabe responds in kind. You can't shoot what you can't see, and unfortunately Caxel is going in blind right now. Pops out the shotgun. Samzukai does have that Rage of Ultron available. Pictac builds up another Eye of Agamotto. Unfortunately, doesn't land onto anybody. Finally, Caxel does go down here. UAlbany Gold, though, have maintained complete control of the point, despite the ult dump from Trent University.
There might be an opportunity for a TP, but no. Amogus Fart, I hate that I had to say his name out loud, but now he's got to open a portal, but he's not in a great spot to be able to actually get on point, and more importantly, get his team to the front line. Milkmaid tries to get there, but just gets cut down by Samzukai, and it's not looking good for Trent University. One by one, they're going to pour through, but as that portal is so far up, they have to just walk so far to even get the opportunity, but it's just a march to their own demise as UAlbany Gold just walk right over them, walk right over Burden T'Challa, and stake their claim. They'll take map 1 seemingly with ease.
Yeah, round 1 looked a little dicey for them. Trent University got it up to 99%, but UAlbany, I'm just going to say it outright, they had better ultimate economy, right? They understood when to pop those ultimates, the Endsong Inferno, the Invisible Boundaries. It felt like when Trent was trying to use their ults, it felt very desperate. They were kind of just throwing stuff as much as they could and say, we'll just throw 3 or 4, and if we win, we win the fight. If we don't, we have to retry again. I felt like UAlbany was had much more intent on when they wanted to ult. And I think that was the big difference maker in this specific round.
Yeah, and then again, like, not having that Magneto the second time around meant that you don't have someone to bubble Milkmaid to try and go for those aggressive Eternal Bonds that we saw Trent University try and play a couple times. It worked out for them on the first point, but once we went to Stellar Spaceport, we saw them go to that well once or twice, and it just got shut down by the Meteor M. It's the tale as old as time, and like you were trying to say earlier, like, these Cloak and Dagger players, they're getting smarter. They know how to try and play around it, and Milkmaid definitely tried to, but sometimes you just need your team to be there to follow up, give you a shield, give you a mag bubble, give you something, but there was just nothing because the ult economy and the composition for Trent, it was all kind of scattershot there by the time we got to point 2.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like a skill check, right? Can this Magneto hit this bubble on me every single time? And unfortunately for Trent University, Dark Magic had it every single time. I don't think I saw him miss a Meteor M. So well played to UAlbany. Like I said, yeah, I think you're right, CB. Like, the composition from Trent felt very disjointed. They swapped over to the Wolverine at one point. Then they had the Punisher. I just don't understand the communication going into, because UAlbany didn't really change anything up. They came in with the composition. They came in with a team comp, and they said, you know what, you're going to have to force us off of this. You're going to have to beat us at our own game. At some point, Trent University has to realize, like, maybe we swap to triple, maybe we run the Mantis, maybe we go into more of a brawl-style composition, but it felt like everyone on Trent University were kind of playing their own individualistic game, and when you do that, I mean, when you face up against a team like UAlbany, who's been here before, I feel like you're just going to run into the meat grinder.
Yeah, and the meat grinder is wherever Albany wants to put it. They're able to control the space so effectively. So many of those fights took place way far forward up at the choke point, and it was only in OT that we actually saw some of these fights happening on the point, and that's the mark of a good team. They understand that this game at its core is all about controlling space, utilizing your composition, your ultimate economy, all these resources to control the most precious of resource, and that is space. If the fight's happening way over here and the point's way back there, you got to get through the bouncers to even get into the club, my friend.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved with them being able to force those resources, because like you said, once you're fighting out of your spawn, once you're forced to cloak ultimate out or invis ult or something like that, you just get kited out, and like, what do? You just don't have any more resources ready to go. But I'm interested to see how they end up taking on this map too, and what we end up going to. I feel like a lot of people default to something like Midtown, although we do get
yes, not what's happening here today. Yeah,
no, yeah,
Usually you'll see like a Midtown or a Central Park be the next up on deck, but Symbiotic Surface is a real oddball pick. You don't usually see Clintar coming out until we're like 4 or 5 maps deep and we're in desperation territory and someone wants to go for some crazy sort of hold here. This is where I expect, I'm kind of jumping the gun on the picks and bans, but this is another one where I kind of feel like one or both of these teams are going to want to try and reach for that Moon Knight ban. I guess one team because it's universal bans, but still, which one of them is going to want to jump for it first?
Yeah, dare I say, I'm going to call my shot now. Albany maybe holds Trent University. Full holds on Clintar are absolutely, persistent. It happens all the time here. And if Trent University comes out with some hodgepodge composition, a lot of time can get burnt, right? If you come in, it takes nearly 30 seconds to even get to that first point. You take the fight, it's another 30 seconds. By the time you've respawned, a minute and a half has gone by, and you're kind of looking at yourself going, well, what do we do here? How do we switch it up? How do we play this composition? Are they going to come out with an early TP? A lot of different ways to attack this map since it's been out since the beginning of Marvel Rivals. I feel like it's kind of figured out, but as we see new heroes coming in, new sort of strategies, we might see some different sort of compositions. I am hoping to see at least one Deadpool today. It doesn't have to be in this series, maybe next series, because I feel like it's very, very underutilized at the moment.
Which one you want to see? Let's narrow it down.
I am a Vanguard pool enthusiast. I've been spamming that this season, but I will have to agree. I think Strat pool is the best one out of the 3.
I'm kind of like 50-50. For me, I think Strat pool is the best, but that's just because I'm a Strat OTP. It's all I play is Strat, so like that Invis Protect from Albany Gold. That's what I'm reaching for every single time because I want to be on my girl Sue as much as I can, and if I can't, then sure, I'll pick up the Merc with the mouth, but I'm still going to be a healer. But I'm seeing a lot of people pick up the Van pool and doing quite well with them because this kit does actually kind of play very well to that Vanguard style. But something else I want to talk about on the picks and bans here is I'm curious if we're going to see anything related to an Ultron ban perhaps, because we're seeing the Phoenix ban and the Hela ban coming out from both sides. First point Clintar is also kind of a decent spot for an Ultron or an other type of flyer, and if that's something that Albany wants to try and play again, you don't really have a lot of tools on the side of Trent University to shut that one down, so maybe you have to use a ban now.
Yeah, I mean, you have Punisher, maybe Hawkeye. That's really about it. Maybe a Psylocke here. There's the Moon Knight save, though, which I do agree with. A lot of good verticality for them to play with. A lot of good choke points. There's the mag save. I don't expect anything less. Maybe it's going to be a Hawkeye ban here from Albany. No, it's going to be Groot instead. I love that. I feel like Groot, insanely good tank. And then it's Moon Knight, right? CB,
yeah, you see the Moon Knight coming out, you have to try and go for the group ban because you don't want to get hit with that Strangling Prison Hand Akanshu Wombo combo. Like, that's just a team wipe waiting to happen, especially if you don't have a strategist ready to absorb it. And even then, it can usually just burst right through it. So, good reaction there. Hey, you get your wish, and it's neither of the Deadpools that we thought.
Come on, Quenchable. Come on. There's no way you're going to flex the Lord in my face. Oh, my God.
I see, like, he's still kind of a new hero, so when I see the Deadpool Lord, I'm typing in the chat in game, I'm saying just get a job.
Yeah, touch grass maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Just go out and get employment. How do you have Lord on Deadpool already? Come on, there's like 3 people who've got it.
Maybe we'll see it. Oh, we are. Please, Quenchable. Please, for the culture, bust out the Deadpool right now. I want to see this, as they are going to be on the offensive side here. Trent University, they ended up saving that Moon Knight. I don't know if my eyes deceive me. I see a severe lack of Moon Knight on the defensive side here. I feel like that's where you're going to want to play it. There's really only 2 chokes you can come out of if you're Albany Gold, and Onk into double Moonblade, and you're kind of cooked. Very interesting to see that they're not opting in. Instead, they're going to go for a full hold with this Penny. What's your thoughts on Penny, CB?
I mean, I kind of missed the Rocket Network team up right away, which I do see Trent University also wishing was active right now. Those extra nests and some of those extra mines really made Penny like a good anti-dive hero, but since the nerf's not quite the same, but still, still usable, especially here on Clintar. Good early frag coming out there from Caxel onto Quenchable there, who, by the way, walked out on the Bucky, didn't bring the Deadpool, uncultured, and got punished for it.
Yeah, I think that's where you look at it and be like, I should have just gone on Bucky. I should have just gone on Deadpool here. But Trent University, I like this kind of full hold composition. You're going to have to go through this choke point. I wonder if you, Albany Gold, will discover that you can go right and not through main, and you can actually just attack from the high ground, which would be really good for them. Actually, you can take out the nest. Instead, they're just going to try to walk through and brute force it. I mean, a pull could be nice onto the penny. That'll at least give you that pick, destroy the nest here, but there's a lot of stuff to wade through if you're U Albany. You've got the nest, you've got the squids, you've got all this different stuff and junk you have to fight through as Cloud does go down here. And like I said,
the craziest thing to me right now is, you know what would counter this entire composition of U Albany, or sorry, of Trent University right now, is Moon Knight.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Moon Knight would be really good
and you even
here.
have the Storm, so you could damage boost him. You would already have the Wombo combo, but even without it, you know, U Albany is about to have 5 ultimates. We're going to see a bloody fight in this next one, but the question is, can Albany even get into the front door to kick that fight off?
Yeah, it feels like they're going to have to use this Storm ultimate maybe more offensively. Instead, they're going to look to combo the Luna and the Omega Hurricane. They're going to try to take the CYA out, and it looks like a double ult from Trent University. I don't know if I necessarily agree with this, because that ultimate economy is going to be tough. Big Eye of Agamotto, though, coming out from Amogus, and that's going to take out multiple members of U Albany. Caxel trying to do their best to take out U Albany. The rest of the members here, Dark Magic is just looking to create some space. Big ultimate from Penny does come out here, but U Albany, they're kind of coming into this fight fractured. They're trickling back in, and even though that ult dump happened, Trent University holds strong. Don't even give a single percentage point.
Yeah, but there's a big combo about to be on deck, but Cloud needs to live, but she just can't. White with the Trident is going to be able to find the KO onto the Emma there, and Quenchable also pop the Kraken Impact, so now you don't even have the combo. I was going to say, Psionic Seduction with Kraken Impact, you can bust this point wide open with that, but now that's completely off the table, and we're back at a neutral.
And just like that, 3 minutes almost have gone by here. They're going to go for this TP onto the high ground. Finally, they're like, hey, we got to get an angle on these nests. We can't just walk through main. Pictac is building towards that Omega Hurricane, roughly at 80% right now. That'll be the big difference maker. But once again, Milkmaid at 70%, Pear at 80 on that CYA. White's going to drop the horn onto U Albany Gold. Big stun onto multiple members. Caxel ends up picking up the kill onto Dark Magic, and U Albany's TP gets thwarted immediately. Here comes the Omega Hurricane, but gets answered in kind by the CYA, and Caxel says, you know what? I've got a Kraken Impact waiting for you. Milkmaid does go down. Quenchable does take down Caxel. This might be the fight that allows U Albany to progress this further. They're trying to get percentage. CYA does not go down, goes to the full duration. Eye of Agamotto from Amogus takes down 2. Cloud and Gabe do get stunned, but unfortunately, nobody gets taken out. Now Cloud answers in response with his own Eye of Agamotto. And finally, U Albany Gold break this point open. I'm actually very surprised that was possible, considering one of their members went down so early.
Yeah, but, I mean, they were willing to invest to try and make up for that loss in manpower. It was the Kraken Impact, which, by the way, Quenchable is going to have another one coming out here, and the Omega Hurricane inside of that tiny little cubby. And shout out to Pear, tried to counter it with the CYA, but it just wasn't there with the rest of the team. Good stun onto Quenchable to shut the Kraken Impact down. We're not going to be seeing any of the resets, but we are going to be seeing Caxel getting hit with that hook there. Going to be res back up, but nevertheless, Trent still has to backtrack just a little bit here. Now Spider Sweeper going to be coming out from Katie to try and retake what was lost, but so much CC just getting booped and bopped around, forced back to the rest of the team. There we go. Now with Caxel taking out Quenchable, Albany is going to be forced to play back onto the cart, and Trent can retake this space, play in a safe spot, and take the fight on their own terms, draw that line in the sand.
I feel like it's a little bit rougher to make this penny work after the first point, but they're going to commit to it right now. Caxel, Kraken Impact available, Milkmaid as well, Invisible Boundary. White has built up another Horn of Proteus, and they're probably going to look for the damage boosted version. Unfortunately, the CYA goes down before the Horn comes in, so no damage boosted ultimate, no kills, and Pigtac actually gets a massive Venom ult onto the back line of Trent University. And at this point, I genuinely feel like you have to swap off this penny and at least go either anti-dive or potentially look to dive U Albany Gold themselves.
And by the way, that Feast of the Abyss was damage boosted. Shouts out to Marcus for that Fate of Both Worlds, swapping over to the damage at the last second and ensuring that you could find 2 off the back of Pictac's ultimate there. Great team play coming out from UAlbany Gold, but as the ult advantage is at a neutral, they're going to have to leverage more of that. I like this aggressive Eye of Agamotto coming out from Cloud. She's able to take down Pear, and the invisible boundary is just too little too late to save my little raccoon buddy, and now one by one will fall like dominoes. But Amogus, with a huge Maelstrom of Madness off the Eye of Agamotto on the other side, is going to even things up.
Both teams trading Eye of Agamottos, and unfortunately, UAlbany do have to put it in reverse. Dark Magic trying his best to live right now. You have no supports with you. I would back up just a little bit. As I say that, though, White does take down Cloud. Good hold from Trent so far. They've swapped over to that double shield composition. Caxel and White. Another round of ults available. Kraken Impact and the Horn of Proteus. This time around, though, Pear, when he pops that ultimate, the Horn needs to come down immediately because UAlbany have been doing a damn good job taking out the CYA. Ideally, you want to use it, I was going to say, as Quenchable uses that final judgment, but here comes Quenchable looking to burst everybody down. Meteor M, unfortunately, is not charged up enough, and he just tanks it like the man that he is. Frank Castle eats those for breakfast, lunch, and dinner as UAlbany are going to push on through to the second point.
Quenchable stands his ground. That's what I call Castle Doctrine. I saw the vision there from Trent. Use the Horn of Proteus to split UAlbany up and then have Caxel go in with the Kraken Impact. And they were able to get 1 KO off of that, but they needed so much more. And that Meteor M, it just wasn't enough to try and augment that. But now as White taking down Quenchable is going to force more resources out of Albany if they want to keep this momentum going. Fate of Both Worlds coming out early. And again, they damage boost it onto Pictac and they find the Milkmaid. Sure, that's going to be res right back up, but Pear on a sliver of HP might not. Luckily, there is going to be some protection. Pictac not going to be able to devour his prey yet again. There will be more KOs coming one by one as Trent is in disarray and UAlbany are on a death march all the way to the end of Clintar.
Trent University just have not been allowed to reset here. That first point, at least the first part of this last point, easy walkthrough for UAlbany. Now they're halfway through. They're going to bend or come around that corner pretty soon. Amogus has been getting some really good Eye of Agamottos. Same with Cloud. Both of them have been trading it back and forth. Ultimate economy advantage does go over to Trent. CYA comes in. Horn of Proteus needs to come in right after. Let's see if it actually gets anybody. Unfortunately, Cloud lands a massive 4-man Eye of Agamotto. She is absolutely ripping through Trent University every single time here. Big KO coming in. Amogus has to respond in kind. Only lands onto 2, but it gets followed up with the Kraken Impact. Are we going to see some resets coming out from Caxel? No! Pictac to bodyguard. That is needed for UAlbany. It's a 5v5 onto the point here. Milkmaid does have invisible boundary available. Marcus says, you know what? Let's push the pace up a little bit. Ultimate comes in from Luna Snow. In kind responds from Milkmaid. We're in overtime situation, so Quenchable has to swap over the Spider-Man. 53% on the ultimate charge. Maybe, just maybe, they can get that elimination. Is that a Spider-Man player I see in the midst? Takes down Rocket Raccoon. There we go. There's a little bit more tempo coming in. Cloud lands a good elimination onto Trent University. It's 3v5 right now. They're just looking to get this thing in. Eye of Agamotto from Amogus lands onto multiple, but there's no follow-up. UAlbany survived the attrition, and that's Caxel on the blade. He's trying his fastest to get in, but 3 points secured for UAlbany Gold.
It's the team play from UAlbany Gold. I got to give a shout out, by the way, to the healers, the backline. I already gave Marcus a shout out for damage amping these Feast of the Abyss to give Pictac the elims, but I also got to give a shout out to Gabe as well, because as a collective, with no ultimates online, the healers for UAlbany were able to weather the storm, keep the front line alive. They did lose Quenchable, which was a little bit unfortunate, but it wasn't a game-ending loss. It wasn't enough to stop the momentum. They just needed to keep the front line alive to force Trent University once again into a disarray of a defense, and they were able to do just that. And with 19k, or sorry, the healing, 31k healing, 27k, you're seeing Marcus and Gabe coming up aces right now for the side of UAlbany. Sometimes, you know, it's not the ones that are coming up in the KO feed that are making the biggest impact, and right now, to my eyes, sure, I'm biased, but I gotta give it up for the strats.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job just comboing their ultimates. And Marcus specifically having the game sense to say, hey, we're going to combo Feast of the Abyss plus my ultimate. I'm going to damage boost it so we can get multiple picks every single time here. And honestly, on that last fight, that overtime, good job from Quenchable on that Spider-Man specifically to seek out the support, seek out the rocket, and go, hey, this is the priority target. If I take this guy down, we'll be able to push on to this point. Really good game sense.
I was worried. On the rollout, he did bonk his Widow head a couple of times. I was worried he wasn't going to get there in time, but he was able to get there and find the rocket, like you said. So good up there for Quenchable to be able to get there and keep that one go and help support the team when they needed it most.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's a high-impact elimination. As you do see the Moon Knight coming in from White on the offensive. Again, I think we both agree, Steve, we would have loved to see it on the defensive side for both of these teams. No Moon Knight, though, for you, Albany. They're instead going to lock in Quenchable on that Punisher, and it's going to actually be a triple tank composition. I can't believe I missed this. Wait a minute. You, Albany, pulling out some dark technology on the defensive side.
Yeah, and speaking of Dark, I think you're going to want to try and switch off of the Blade there, because I don't think he's going to be doing a whole lot against these three tank compositions here from you, Albany. You're going to get a lot of ult charge here from White, and you can maybe, confirm a KO eventually if you can stop losing your thing in the front line there.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of understand Caxel as the Moon Knight does come in, hand to Khonshu, does hunt somebody. Dark Magic actually ends up going down. Caxel also has that team up available for the extra AoE, plus you get the anti-heal as Final Judgment does come in from Quenchable. They're going to try to burst him down, but unfortunately, that's not possible. We do see White, though, trying to farm another bevy of ultimates, already at 80%. Unfortunately, Quenchable does go down. Milkmaid is able to take him down immediately, and Caxel is just hacking and slashing, dicing away at the enemy team. And that's a lot of anti-heal being applied onto you, Albany Gold. Doesn't matter how many tanks you have. If you can't get those support ultimates charged, if you can't do anything about it, as he dashes in onto the Invisible Woman, Quenchable and Gabe are able to hold, and Caxel, I think, is on the wrong side of the town here.
Yeah, deep behind enemy lines. I doubt he's going to be happy with the position right now. And can he get out alive? He's going the long way, but Pictac is hot on the trail here. Oh, good dash there, but Cloak of Levitation. Pictac really wants to try and confirm this one. No, Caxel is somehow going to be able to get out alive, but I still don't think the Blade is it, because even with a 1000-volt slash, they couldn't burn through the Strategist ultimates. So, okay, 7 HP. Come on, you worked so hard to get out alive. You can't be throwing away your life now.
Just frontlining here. They do have the Blade ult coming in. A lot of anti-heal can be applied, like we mentioned. Trent University, though, they have to make this work right now. Truly, Katie does have that Meteor M on top. Gabe with that Invisible Boundary. Dark Magic Meteor M here. Pictac on the Strange. It's a third Strange player, as Omogas actually lands a pretty solid Eye of Agamotto. Gets followed up by the hand of Khonshu, but Pictac comes in, lands another Eye onto the back line of Trent University. Multiple members go down, and again, we just see Caxel slicing and dicing his way, but he doesn't really hurt that bad. It's kind of like a mosquito hitting these tanks.
Yeah, like, even, again, you know, he's able to build up to another 1000-volt slash, and sure, like, it does apply a lot of anti-healing, and you can potentially burst on through, but only if you have focus fire from the rest of your team, and the rest of the team was already dead before they even walked through the front door. They couldn't fight into Gabe's Invisible Boundary, and now, going into this next fight, there's going to be a Fatal World from Marcus, who gets the better of the exchange between themselves and Pair, and now here we go, the hands of Khonshu. This has to be the fight for Trent, not two. It very well might be, but Quenchable? Well, doesn't matter what Quenchable has to say, because Caxel has an orb for you.
Unfortunate. You, Albany Gold, just a little too slow on that ultimate usage. They came out, matched the fate of both worlds. I don't think this TP is going to be able to come in. Surely you, Albany, swaps off this triple tank composition, and we just see a standard 2-2-2. Because at this point, you are just farming Moon Knight ultimates if you're White here, right? Because you've got 3 big tanks to bounce the blades off of. Quenchable's relatively immobile. Onks are doing a massive amount of, you know, heavy lifting when it comes to bouncing and ricocheting off multiple members. As I say that, though, he does go down. My bad, White, my bad.
It is a triple shield composition, so there's a lot of shields to try and chunk through to even get those crescent darts on point here, but Quenchable has no such obstruction. He can just fire down range, find a couple easy KOs, got another one there, Axel with a headshot for style points, and New Albany able to hang tight. And, you know, again, like, you can build up these ultimates really quickly if you're able to get past not 1, not 2, but 3 shields. But it's a tall order even for, you know, even for a Moon Knight.
I'm getting flashbacks of a very dark time in a different game here as we see 3 shields being locked in for you, Albany. Quenchable does go down, though. Caxel hits him finally, and That's a lot of damage. That's actually your only real big source of damage being taken out here. Hand of Khonshu does come in. This Eye of Agamotto unfortunately lands onto multiple members of Train University. Omogus, though, has building up towards his nice takedown from Cloud onto Caxel. White ends up taking down Gabe. It's a 4v5. Train University on the offensive at the moment. Amogus says, you know what, let me pop this Eye of Agamotto. Gets responded in kind by Marcus with the Fate of Both Worlds, so they have to go on the offensive now. They've got to drive Train University back. And by the way, that's another Hand of Khonshu farmed by White. Once those shields start to go down, like you mentioned, CB, it's free money for White right now. 2 Hand of Khonshus in less than 30 seconds.
There's a Meteor M coming out from Dark Magic, gonna go a little bit wide. It's a 7-10 split there. Good hook in the Trooper's Fist as well, forcing out the mag bubbles, but there's just too much pressure. And Katie is there with the cleanup, taking down Dark Magic on the Magneto. And like you said, that's another shield down, one less obstruction for White to try and build up to another Hand of Khonshu. But looking at the opening for Trent right now, they don't need it, but Albany, they have to start investing theirs. Invisible Boundary is gonna be coming out on both sides. Quenchable with that Final Judgment is able to take down Katie from the sky, but there's that Hand of Khonshu, like we were saying, and Trent coming out ahead on this fight.
I mean, surely you just saw this Moon Knight farm 3 Hand of Khonshus in your face, and you're gonna go, we need another DPS threat. We need something to at least dive him or dissuade him, because White is just picking up free real estate. TP does come in, but unfortunately the point already gets captured. It's a waste.
And the swap out of the Spider-Man as well. Like, Quenchable is not on a comfort pick anymore. Cloud is, you know, not at all where she wants to be. The rest of the team is going to be there to try and help the contest, but that means you're basically going to give this fight up. And you can see all of Albany on the back foot right now as Trent just continue to press their advantage. A Bionic Hook is going to force Cloud out of position. She's on 1 HP, and Katie is happy to take that.
Yeah, and another stagger coming in, another 5v6. Caxel. Kraken Impact available, looking to combo it probably with this Eye of Agamotto. Among Us, they know what you're trying to do. You're shifting to the side after frontlining here. You're actually going to get your Eye of Agamotto absolutely interrupted. Nice pull from Quenchable there to interrupt it. Marcus does pop that Luna Snow ultimate just as a kind of response. Caxel, though, truly Katie does pop the Rage of Ultron, gets taken down immediately. A nice headshot from Quenchable. Another Hand of Khonshu, unfortunately, this time doesn't pick anybody up. Quenchable says, you know what? Let me go deep with the Kraken Impact, and gets punished immediately with no support from the team. White and Caxel are proving to be a formidable DPS duo. Trent University are just pushing you, Albany, back.
3 off the Kraken Impact, and Gabe is not going to be there with Invisible Boundary. It might be very late to the fight, and that Eye of Agamotto from Amogus that got canceled early on, well, it's back online because getting it canceled only brings it down to 50%. So if Amogus can catch himself onto Gabe, it might be enough to confirm this one. A nice freeze coming out, though, from Marcus, the Invisible Boundary, but it's not on the point. Amogus just holds the door, stops Albany from being able to get back on, and they're going to force extra innings on Symbiotic Surface.
Switch things up, including which side you're on.
28 seconds left for Trent University versus the 0 that you, Albany, had. A very close match between both squads. You, Albany, right now just does not have an answer. They don't know what to do about this Moon Knight. Like, simply put, he's farmed like 7 ultimates that game. Or just, sorry, that round.
And the Eye from Amogus that came out early on, the one that you said got canceled, it still forced the Panic ultimate out of Marcus, so you're down 1 strat ultimate, you're banking everything on that Invisible Boundary, and in all of the chaos, Caxel is able to take her down. So Albany, like, Moon Knight or no, Amogus went in and made a huge play. It looked like a colossal failure, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, getting the right answer with the wrong formula. Like, all right, well, I mean, you still did it. Like, the Eye of Agamotto didn't land, but you forced the support ultimate, so
it doesn't matter how we got there. We got there. It's the destination, not the journey.
Exactly. For this specific point, yeah, it is. And, you know, shout outs to Trent, you know, finally tapping into that Moon Knight that they say 40-7, 14 finals. I mean, Caxel's also doing a very good job. It just doesn't look as flashy, right? The scoreboard doesn't look as amazing, but both of these DPS on Trent University side have been doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Quenchable's trying, but again, I'm just not in love with this single DPS composition. Like, a lot rides on Quenchable's shoulders, and look, he did it last game, but this time around, you're facing off against a different beast. You're facing off against a different kind of composition, and Trent University just seemed to have your number. As I say that, though, nice early teleporter here onto that high ground. They've dropped already, though, so they've given up the high ground. And truly, Katie swapping over that Loki, I feel like a bit of a mistake, considering that Moon Knight is in the game.
Yeah, but I mean, they wouldn't have predicted Quenchable to make this swap,
Yeah.
nor would they have predicted the Strange TP, but here's the problem. You Albany have to win this fight because they don't get an opportunity to use that TP for an overtime push now. And there's White with a hand of Conchu already. If you lose even a single member, it's over, but they're able to take down Katie and the Milkmaid as well. White's gonna trade out his own life for one, but this is so good now for Albany.
Quenchable didn't farm that hand of Conchu as fast there. There's a couple members, couple stragglers from Trent on the backside here. Maybe they're looking for a TP coming out. Amogus, though, is 1 second away. I actually don't think they're going to be able to get this off. So you, Albany, are going to capture that first point off a very aggressive TP. And yeah, I was scared because White farmed that hand of Conchu very well. I just unfortunately misplaced it, unable to get anybody. And in all that chaos, Quenchable is able to find Katie on that Loki with a nice Onk Moonblade combo, which opens it up for them.
Now we're off the Loki, now we're on the Ultron. Katie knows that you can't stay on Loki up against a Moon Knight. And that Moon Knight, by the way, is now farmed to his own hand of Conchu, so Quenchable can be the playmaker here. Trent, despite being in disarray, do have some tools of their own, but they're going to have to be perfect with them. Amoga's going to have another huge Eye of Agamotto. We're gonna see Trent able to come back here. He's going for it, but he gets frozen up by the other side, not able to complete it. And there's that hand of Conchu to try and break all of the Predators coming out from both sides.
Okay, let's see if we can actually see anything here. A lot invested from you, Albany. Specifically, an Eye of Agamotto from Cloud lands onto multiple members. It's just better. Amogus goes down, and you, Albany, are going to get even more meters. They might even just get the second point. A lot was invested, though. Rage of Ultron available for Katie. Pair has the Between Both Worlds. Surely, with the ultimate economy advantage, Trent can at least stop this locomotive that is you, Albany.
The win condition here, though, is you have to try and use Rage of Ultron to hopefully bait out that Meteor M. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the only real thing you can do right now. But Katie forced to try and take the teleporter back with the rest of the team to get healed up, but Quenchable is able to clean that one up, and now you, Albany, have all the momentum as Quenchable takes down Caxel as well. The Moonblade not going to find its mark, but Quenchable is still on the prowl. Fatal World's going to come out from Pair. Trent University looking to try and hold on, but now Dark Magic has an opportunity to leave a splat in the dirt in the shape of the Strategist. And you, Albany, with 4 in the KO feed, are going to get point 2, and Trent can't do a damn thing about it.
Quenchable on the Moon Knight. Anything you can do, I can do better. Actually,
he's
is a
still
Lord.
doing it.
Yeah, it's a Lord Moon Knight. Why didn't you play this last half? What? Why wait until overtime to bust it out? Unless this is some convoluted plan from you, Albany, to break Trent University. White, though, does have that hand of Conchu available. Amogus hopefully doesn't get their Eye of Agamotto canceled this time. Maybe make it a little less obvious. Don't just fly into the sky. Try to, sneak around potentially. But you, Albany, still pushing through. Pick-Tack, Rage of Ultron available. They can go for more. I mean, Trent University just don't have an answer. As I say that, Quenchable has already farmed nearly 85% towards this hand of Conchu. Rage of Ultron finally taken in by Pick-Tack. Eye of Agamotto lands onto nobody. It whiffs. Amogus unfortunately can't land. Caxel does get the Kraken impact, but that's a Charlie Niner from you, Albany.
All right, so maybe the hand of Conchu from Trent didn't actually find what it needed to, but it did force you, Albany, to evacuate the dance floor, and with only a little bit left on the overtime wick, it does burn up, but that's still a crazy push to get off of just 1 minute. They've set themselves up for a win condition, and basically, now, despite having the better time bank, Trent have no choice but to match it and then do it, but better.
Yeah, and right now, Quenchable has been doing the Moon Knight, but better. I was singing White's praises, and he's still been doing very good, but, I mean, Quenchable with the triple support, he can play as aggressively as he wants to, especially with the Ultron drone, plus the occasional damage boost you get by using some of your abilities if you're Pick-Tack. Quenchable is just a roided out Moon Knight. That's really what it is.
As soon as he swapped to that Moon Knight, by the way, he doubled his damage. He was at around where Pick-Tack is right now, that 28k mark. Now Bro's up at 43. He's catching up to White, who has been on that Moon Knight the entire time. Says, I'm coming for you. I see you up there with 68k. Yeah, you're really putting a hurting on my front line, but I can make you hurt too.
Yeah. And now the question comes in, as I say it, does Trent University try to run a triple support composition themselves? It looks like they've swapped over, but the big difference is that it's a single tank composition for Trent University. I don't particularly love single tank on the defensive side. I think if you're doing offense, if you're pushing, single tank is workable, it's doable, but I feel like you just get walked on if you're Trent University.
It's an interesting composition, though. Trent's on the offensive here with that single tanks, Doctor Strange, and the triple strategist with the rocket. It feels a little bit more defensive in nature, but you can tell they're afraid. They want that BRB. They want that extra life so they can have another crack at this. To me, this is signaling they do not have confidence in their ability to win this first fight, and you can even see they're kind of hesitant. They're just walking up the choke again, not going for an aggressive TP play, not trying to go for any sort of crazy flank. They're just hoping for the best right now, and this is where a team like Albany can punish the hesitance. They can take the fight to Trent University, but not before burning out the clock to make sure it is their last fight.
It's already 40 seconds. Mind you, Trent University had a minute and a half. A minute has already gone down, and they haven't even actually walked past the halfway point of this main corridor. Quenchable is looking to drop the hand of Khonshu. They both trade, White as well. An individual go down here, but truly KD actually ends up rezzing Caxel, so it's a 6v5 for Trent University at the moment. But does Trent know? Are they aware that they have a man advantage? Because you've got to play aggressive. You've only got 15 seconds left on the clock. Pear pops the Cloak and Dagger ultimately. You see Caxel with that Kraken Impact readily available. Pick-Tack, Rage of Ultron, and we do see Trent University actually able to push on in. Nice, Armed and Dangerous. It's going to reset onto Albany, and unfortunately, they're going to have to give this point up, but a lot was invested from Trent. Nearly everything other than Amogus with his Eye of Agamotto at about 4% until he gets the ultimate.
White's going to be building up to another hand of Khonshu. We've seen Trent University try and go for this combination several times. They've got to shake off the overtime jitters and be able to land it at least one more time and hopefully catch on to both Gabe and Marcus with it, because you got two strategist ultimates for the side of Albany. They can afford to invest one, lose a fight, and still have another to deal with whatever Trent brings to the fight next. They have to be perfect here, but Gabe finds White early on. It might be over. That could be the harbinger of the end. Sonic Seduction now coming up from Cloud. They smell blood.
Getting really aggressive at the moment. Amogus has that ultimate available, but Quenchable is just putting people into the dirt right now. Eye of Agamotto lands onto 5 members of Albany, but there's no follow-up. White is only able to take down Quenchable. It's a lot of damage taken out from Albany, but Gabe with the invisible boundary is able to respond in kind, and the overtime bar is slowly ticking away. I don't know how much longer Trent University can contest. They do have close spawns. I just don't think it's enough. It's at a sliver right now. Trent University, though, they haven't farmed any ultimates. Dark Magic does have that Meteor M available. They can put the nail in the coffin right now. Cloud is loud and Marcus take down multiple members. Trent University is falling like flies. They're contesting. White on the Venom has swapped over to maybe give his team a chance. Quenchable has swapped over to the Spider-Man back. And there we go. The last sliver of overtime gets taken down. Albany take it 5-4. And they're up 2-0.
You gotta say, Trent were hoisted with their own petard right there. They protected the Moon Knight. They had White play the Moon Knight, and then Quenchable says, hey, this Moon Knight character's pretty busted. Maybe I should have a crack at this one. As soon as he does, Albany shift into another gear, and Trent just can't seem to keep up. You keep seeing these Eye of Agamotto combinations trying to come out, but it's so well scouted from Albany because they know how to play these sorts of heroes. They know how to set up these sorts of combinations, and Quenchable doesn't need the setup. He just needs to drop the hand wherever he wants, and he knows he's going to find pay dirt with it. That is the mark of a real Renaissance man. I mean, finishing things off on the Spider-Man, spent some time on, I believe, the Bucky as well. Homie played a little bit of everything, and again, nearly completely caught up to White's damage off the back of that Moon Knight pick. That's why you're seeing a lot of him banned in ranked right around now, because he is busted.
And that's without like a consistent damage boost, right? Yeah, sure, Pick-Tack on the Ultron can occasionally damage boost the Moon Knight. Pair that up with a Storm, potentially a Mantis that was let through, and that Moon Knight becomes doubly lethal. Very, very well played from Quenchable. Again, my biggest question for Albany, why not just swap to it at the half instead of making us go into overtime? But keeping things exciting, I don't mind. The other big thing is, a lot has been on Quenchable's shoulders so far this series. The sole DPS, they've been pretty much running triple support every single time, and they have stepped up to the plate. My question, CB, is does Trent University even try to copy that? Do they have the firepower to run that singular DPS and maybe match 2-1-3?
I mean, I really don't think they do, to be completely honest with you. I think they just kind of have to stick with the 2-2-2. Maybe they try and go back with the triple strategist, maybe with a single Vanguard lineup, but you can't really risk doing that because then you just kind of leave the field wide open for someone like Quenchable to play whatever he wants. I will say, looking at the scoreboard, they did a pretty good job at most of the time of punishing Quenchable, finishing with 16 deaths, but 51 eliminations for Quenchable. Yikes, a bit yikes on that one, but still 16 deaths. You can punish this guy. You can put him down. You can try and make some plays off the back of that. For me, though, it's the backline of UAlbany that is making up the difference. I shouted them out earlier on, but Marcus and Gabe are coming up clutch with the aggressive plays, whether it's going aggressive with the Luna Snow ultimate, trying to damage boost the Venom ultimates, whether it's, just being pixel perfect with the invisible boundaries. When you're playing these double immo ults, you can use one aggressively and then save the other for whatever the other side wants to come out here with. And if they can't get that Moon Knight combination off to burst through it, you're good. You've always got something ready for the next fight.
Yeah, I think just going back to the point we made even in, match one, UAlbany's ultimate economy is just so good. They're very, very efficient, I think is the word I want to use for them. They know what to do. They know when to pop what they need to pop, and they have very decisive ultimate timings. Whereas Trent, they did get better from match one to match two, but towards the end, it kind of began to unravel where they were just kind of throwing stuff at the wall, hoping something sticks. And unfortunately, that's not really a viable strategy in Marvel Rivals, at least when you're playing in a more competitive, coordinated environment. You might be able to do that in ranked, but this is a different beast.
Yeah, you can't just be, showing up to NECC against a team like UAlbany and still just be trying stuff. You gotta have some strats on lockdown. And I think there was a sound strategy, trying to go for the Moon Knight play there. But when you're going up against a team again like UAlbany, they're ready for that kind of strats. You can't just brute force a team like that.
Yeah, well, we are going to go to a very short break as we potentially hope for Trent University to get things back in order and potentially send us to a map 3 or map 4, or this could be UAlbany's clean 3-0 for the first week of NECC Marvel Rivals. Like I said, we're going to go to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very shortly. Hello and welcome back, everybody. I told you guys it would be a very short break. Currently, if you're just tuning in, this is week 1 of the NECC Marvel Rivals winter/spring season. I'm Shibby, that's CB. Currently, Albany Esports is up 2-0 against Trent University or Trent Esports. Although Trent had a pretty solid convergence map, all things considered. The fact that they got 2-0'd on domination to then take Albany to overtime does lead me to believe that we may be going more than 3 maps.
We very well might be. The third map, though, on deck is going to be Midtown, and it's a little bit of an oddball here. Usually we see this one in the second slot here, but instead we took that little detour to Symbiotic Surface. Midtown is one of those maps where I think, because it's just so straight shot, straightforward, again, things like the Moon Knight tend to come into the fold alongside the Groot, but it's one of those maps where an underdog team can kind of flip the script, start getting that momentum on their side, and start to try and take things to a third, sorry, we're already at a third map, a fourth map, and a fifth map, and so on and so forth. For Albany, I mean, they're looking to try and start the season off on the right foot. For Trent University, they're trying to still get their feet underneath them. This is the place to do it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whose curse is stronger between us, CB, because almost every single match in NECC last season went to map 5 when I was with Vaudeville. I understand from your experience, you had a lot of 3-0s, right? Like a lot of maps were quick.
Yeah, the janitors don't need to come around when me and Keg were in the building because we had plenty of sweeping already happening on our watch, all right? The floors were so clean you could eat off of them, but I want things to get a little bit messy with these two teams. I'm glad, by the way, this is our first series that we get to cast here on NECC because these two teams, right? This is Division 4, but these two, I legitimately feel like they're both better than some of our Division 2 teams even. The skill level for these two squads is just off the charts.
Yeah, Albany at least definitely plays like a Division 2 team, especially with some of the strategies they're running, right? As you get lower into divisions with any game, right? It doesn't have to be Marvel Rivals, can be League, can be anything on the NECC menu. Lower you go, the strategies tend to be a little bit more devolved. The play becomes a lot more individualistic. But Albany just look like a well-oiled machine. And as I say that, they miss a ban.
But they don't miss a protect. Okay, so we've seen the Thor ban come out on the past 2 maps from Trent University. This time, Albany are not going to let them get away with that. They're going to protect the Thor, and that kind of makes me think, hey, maybe there was a pocket pick that we didn't really scout out, but Trent definitely did, and they were trying to shut that one down, but they can't afford to try and keep waiting until the end to ban him out. Albany gonna seize that opportunity. Speaking of the opportunity, that Moon Knight protect coming out from Trent. We see a lot of Moon Knight on Midtown, but the Groot ban coming out again from Albany, scouting that one out, making sure if you're going to play the Moon Knight, you are not going to be having that combo.
Yeah, and, Trent University scouting might be as good as mine because the person that is the Thor player is quenchable for Albany. 400 games on Thor. Like 400. Like, that guy is a Thor player. Loves Thor, loves playing it. So, I get it.
Considering how good he's been on the Moon Knight, on the Bucky, on all the duelist roles, do you really want to force him to play those sorts of heroes? Maybe letting him on the Thor is a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, maybe he's like, I can't not pick my favorite hero of all time in Marvel Rivals. So we do see the Winter Soldier being protected here, and there we go, our first Gambit being left through. Trent has to ban Loki here. I genuinely think they have to ban Loki. I don't think the Moon Knight into Loki is worth giving up Loki Gambit.
I think that's what it's got to be. We'll see if what it comes out here with. The suspense is kind of killing me because I want to see. So I've spent some time with some pro teams in scrims. They have a code word for the Loki Gambit backline. They call it slop. That's completely true. They say, let's play some slop. They're gonna ban the mag. Get ready, fill up the trough. Let's eat some slop, boys.
Oh, I mean, it's just gonna be whichever team runs Loki Gambit, and then the other team's gonna be like, wait, they're running Loki Gambit. We need to also run Loki Gambit. Like, you can't beat it. I've seen every combination under the roof try to beat it. Nothing really compares. I actually genuinely don't think this Moon Knight is going to be enough. I will be surprised if we don't see any slop, like you said, CB, but it looks like right now Gabe is going to run into the Cloak and Dagger. Quenchable is going to be on their Thor, and I feel like Quenchable, the fact that they're running this triple Vanguard, I feel like Quenchable plays Thor like a DPS.
It's possible, by the way, that the missed ban from Albany was low-key, because I know sometimes, teams will kind of have a gentleman's agreement where they'll just, be like, oh, no, I missed a ban, and they'll just kind of, type it in the chat, and the other team will be like, all right, that's chill, that's fine, that's whatever. But nevertheless, I talked earlier at the top of the show about Cloak and Dagger. The mag ban coming out does now mean that it's going to be a lot easier to get those Eternal Bonds off, and you're going to see a lot more aggressive plays able to come out from both sides. Gabe and Milkmaid both reaching for that dynamic duo.
And that mag ban is pretty much specifically targeted towards Dark Magic, right? Like, just a killer on the Magneto so far. Allows Milkmaid to play the game. And Quenchable and New Albany are going to rock with this Angela Thor comp. Now, I have seen something like this early on when they both came out. A lot of teams were trying to run like a triple Vanguard composition where they ran Angela Thor and they were just kind of like diving your backline. I suspect this is going to be something very similar, as Quenchable on this Thor is taking no prisoners. Omogas just goes down immediately. Dark Magic does get traded out in the meantime, but Quenchable once again, why did you guys give this Thor? That is insane!
It's just disgusting stuff. Like, Trent are just in disarray, and it's just like connecting the dots. Quenchable just goes from one to the next to the next. White gonna be able to trade that one out for Pick Tack, and Quenchable has to respect it. But as the cart rounds the corner, he doesn't even need to have his Angela there to be able to take a duel with Katie on the other Angela. And Mjolnir leaves a dent in Katie's skull.
The moon comes in, unfortunately, does not matter, as Quenchable only knows one key. I don't think he has the S key bounded. I think he's only pressing W at the moment, the way the store is moving. And through all that chaos, you, Albany, pick up .1 off of the back of Mjolnir.
If he doesn't stop, Trents are going to be pressing F5 right now, all right? That's what they're going to be pressing. We're going to see the Raging Royal Flush coming out from Albany. Marcus going on a flank with it. Interesting play there. Pear going to pop that Eternal Bond, try and save from that Kraken impact that comes out. And now the strat ult's going to start to come out on both sides, but Albany still very much so in the driver's seat. You can see Trent with their fingers firmly on their S keys.
Yeah, they're backing it up. They haven't actually had a proper team fight since the first one. They've just been putting it in reverse here. New Albany, I like this. Eternix, actually one of their subs, Duelist Vanguard sub specifically, is in to fill in that DPS role. As I say that though, Quenchable playing it. Big Eye of Agamotto onto multiple members. Dark Magic lands. Does take down Amogus, and Trent University, as I say that though, Caxel's gonna come in. Nice reset for them. God of Thunder now gets dropped down. Unfortunately, no damage boost. And finally, the big bad Thor gets taken down. Trent University say the monster's gone, he's away.
Took a Kraken impact from Caxel to make the God of Thunder bleed, and now Albany have to evacuate the premises. Trent University can finally start to get their bearings, but White gonna be taking one more prize in the form of Eternix. But like I was saying, Trent can now start to get their bearings. They need to try and focus down Quenchable with some of these Terror Capes. If Milkmaid can try and play and anticipate the Thor play coming out, this is punishable. You do have the damage to try and stop him from getting away with murder in the front line, but you have to be ready for when he comes in.
Yeah, especially the double Terror Cape. I mean, you're just vulnerable for like 3-4 seconds. You get bursted down here. As I say that though, Tic Tac, both Gambits match ultimate for ultimate. Royal Flushes coming in, but Eternix unfortunately does not get the reset with this Kraken impact. Does push back Trent University momentarily, but Milkmaid actually ends up picking up Marcus. That's a strategist down for you, Albany. As I say that though, Eternal Bond comes in from Gabe. They're looking to push the tempo a little bit forward. Pear responds in kind, between Fate of Both Worlds coming in. Caxel does have that Kraken impact as well. Unfortunately, they don't need to use it. You, Albany, I don't know how they're pushing the momentum right now. Big ultimate from Pick Tac. Heaven's Retribution lands on the multiple members, and finally the Kraken impact comes in from Caxel.
See the Trooper's Fist coming out. Caxel really wants to try and confirm this KO, but he just can't do it. It looks like Albany have managed to turn this fight. We saw that Eternal Bond coming out from Gabe, and I thought that was a bit erroneous, but it forced out Pear's Eternal Bond. And so you, Albany, all they have to do is just try and live through that Strategist Ultimate exchange, get a little bit more soldiers back to the front lines, and then Trent don't have anything less offensive or defensive to close out the fight. So Albany just bide their time and bounce back when the moment is right. And now 4 minutes to try and get through point C, and you can see they're taking all of the space essentially for free as Trent are once again on the back foot, once again in disarray. Eye of Agamotto from Dark Magic gets frozen up. Good play coming out there from Pear, but it's not going to be enough to be able to stake their claim on this point just yet.
Eye of Agamotto from Amogus lands only onto Eternix, and Pick Tac doing a decent job controlling this guy, is actually controlling Amogus. As I say that though, does get kidnapped momentarily by White on the Wolverine. Katie does have Rage and Royal Flush available. Marcus is probably going to respond in time. It's just a matter of time here. Both Royal Flushes coming. Eternix looking for another Kraken impact. Unfortunately, last stand from White takes that down and shuts it immediately. Very well played. God of Thunder does come in. Unfortunately, does not land on anybody. Pick-Tack does take down Pear, though. White responds in kind. Quenchable finally goes down here. Eternal Bond comes in from Gabe, and now they'll prompt Milkmaid to use their own Eternal Bond.
Oh, Gabe, though, has to fade out and use the Dagger Storm just to be able to live. Caxel hunting that Cloak and Dagger down and making them regret ever popping that ultimate in his turf. Now Trent holding on to that Kraken impact. Pear going to be coming up on that Eternal Bond. There are some tools to be able to bleed out this time bank, but 2.5 minutes to only get the cart about halfway through point C. Still kind of a tall order on both sides. You know, we're at a bit of a stalemate here right now. It's going to be who's the first to flinch.
Pick-Tack, Heaven's Retribution available. As I say that, though, eats a huge pull and the punch just in time to stop all that movement. Unfortunately, this is going to force you, Albany, to back up. A nice freeze once again from Pear onto Dark Magic. And that Eye of Agamotto, unfortunately, does not get any follow-up. White takes down Quenchable. I mean, shout out Pear. Honestly, just a banger support right now. Does use the fate of both worlds here to keep his team alive at the moment. Trent University looking to push Albany back. They've won multiple team fights in a row, and that big 4.5 minute time bank that Albany had, it's now trickled down to 1:45. They've got maybe 2 fights left as both Rage and Royal Flushes come in, and Eternix once again looking for the Kraken impact. Just no follow-up, no reset.
And there's no ults left online for Albany, but the last stand from White taking down Quenchable and another Feral Leaf. The damage is there. He's going to follow up with 2, and with the claws flying, just tears Eternix to shreds, and Albany's offense is once again stuffed. And I want to double down, by the way, on your pear-shaped praise there with the freeze that came out onto Dark Magic, and then despite losing Milkmaid through it, still held on to that Fate of Both Worlds, did not get greedy, did not try and overinvest until it was absolutely necessary, and by that point, Milkmaid was back in the fight, so now you're building up that Eternal Bond. You can keep the ult rotations going and bleed this last 1 minute out. If you're lucky, Gabe does have a little bit of a head start. You need to try and make up that difference, but there is still hope.
Quenchable has been momentarily stopped. As I say that, though, he's going to drop the God of Thunder right onto Caxel's head, and that's Mjolnir. Big, big damage. Marcus as well comes in, a triple for himself. Quenchable and Marcus just took the game in their own hands. They said, you know what? Can we get to the 3rd point, guys? I put in so much work. We had 4.5 minutes, 30 seconds left in the time bank. 3-0 so far for Albany, though.
And I got the saddest six-word story of all time. For sale, cloak ult never used. We were able to build up to that one at the end there. Just like I said, there was hope. There was an opportunity, but it was just too fast. Albany scouted that out. They saw that there was going to be another Stratus ult coming online. Their ult tracking was perfect, and they said, we have to go now before they get an opportunity to use this ultimate comfortably. So what do? Gabe pops his ult, and then Quenchable goes in. As everybody's on the back foot trying to kite around that Eternal Bond, goes in with the God of Thunder and just collapse right down on top of Trent University, and there's not a damn thing they could do about it. They were in no position to be able to parry that blow, and it was the death blow for their defensive side, but they're able to at least cut that time bank down from 4 minutes to get through point C to 30 seconds by the end of it. I think 38, so we'll round it up to 40. Still not bad, not a bad defense, but we're kind of in the same situation now with Clintar, where Trent now have to do the same as Albany, but better.
I think my eyes deceive me. Is Omoka's gonna lock in solo tank thing right now? Is this correct? I don't know if this is the answer, because triple support usually is able to get over the hump of, you know, having slower ultimate charge rate by having 2 tanks.
I don't like the triple strategist gambit, because you're robbing Katie of ult charge, so you're not going to be able to get the Rage and Royal Flush. Marcus is going to have the advantage of that every single time, and despite the nerfs, it's still a fight-winning ultimate if it's unmatched.
And Pick-Tack immediately takes down White, who got flung into their grave. Like, straight up thrown in and said, you know what? Good luck. Good luck, buddy. White is going to respawn here. Yeah, I don't know. This just, again, This feels like Trent University kind of throwing stuff at the wall and trying stuff like you mentioned. I just don't think this is the answer. As I say that, though, White does get a good kidnap. Pear takes down Eternix. Quenchable goes down. So, hey, maybe I don't know anything. Team compositions are fake. Heroes are real. And all you need is vibes for Trent University.
And, you know, despite it all, Amogus was still able to help Katie build up to a comparable ult charge there. Marcus is still a little bit ahead in terms of that Rage and Royal Flush, but it's not the end of the world. You can maybe kite out the first half of it and maybe get the better of the two if you're able to build up to it. A stagger KO would be nice, and White really wanted that one, but Dark Magic shuts it down, and now Trent are going to be on the back foot as Albany, with that Rage and Royal Flush, are going to be doubling down with the Omega Hurricane.
I like this. A lot of good damage here. Gambit does not fold, though. Truly, Katie is able to pop it, but not in time. And it's absolutely wasted. The Royal Flush becomes an absolute fold for Trent University as you, Albany Gold, do a good job. And CB, I love that you mentioned the ultimate charge cost and just the ultimate gather rate for Marcus. It is going to be perpetually 15 to 20% ahead of Katie if Trent University sticks onto this triple support.
And just like we learned at the end of point C there on Albany's attack, if they even sense the tiniest window of opportunity when it comes to an ult deficit, they will seize that moment, and they do just that. There was almost that little sliver of hope when Katie, you know, popped that Royal Flush at the end to try and live through the Omega Hurricane, but Albany, again, the follow-up was there, so they just don't let Trent get away with that. Now, aggressive use of this Fate of Both Worlds. This is good because they still have the Eternal Bond for a defensive one, but Gabe gonna go in early on and match it, and Milkmaid just gets kidnapped before we can ever pop it. What a play from Quenchable, and Trent, it just wiped before I can even finish my sentence.
And they don't have a Gambit. No one... Guys, you cannot fight into one-sided Gambit. It's not fun. It's a losing situation here. Instead, Pear is going to opt in for the Sharknado. But are they going to be able to build it up? They have a minute and a half left. I'm going to assume White is going to hold on to this Omega Hurricane until Pear... Never mind. I lied. Throw it out the window. Marcus is going to respond with the Gambit. Never folds your Rage and Royal Flush. Let's see if Pick-Tack can respond in kind. A lot of ultimates being thrown by Trent University. It looks like it might be enough for them to go on through. Dark Magic and Quenchable, though. God of Thunder coming in, slamming down on the multiple members with the Eye of Agamotto, but White has picked up multiple members of Albany Gold, and maybe that's just what they needed.
And the Storm Swap paying dividends for Trent University. Quenchable on low HP is going to be able to get the health pack, and the rest of the team is going to be there to heal him up, so he's still going to be a opposition there. Good hook, though, nearly shuts him down, forcing out more mobility, forcing Quenchable to continue to backtrack, and that might be enough to secure the cap. 0.99 meters left. White with another KO, but there's enough time for the Strange TV to come out from Dark Magic. There's still a contest, but it's too little too late. He has to swap spawns.
Swap spawns there. Valiant effort from Quenchable. I mean, just did a damn good job living there, right? Really good mastery of that Thorn. It looks like Albany are going to swap back to this 3-tank composition. Pick-Tack on this Venom. Playing into an Emma and a Jeff could be a little rough here. Milkmaid, 49% on that Eternal Bond. Pear does have the It's Jeff, but I'm assuming they're going to wait for the Omega Hurricane so we can get the Land Shark going. Omogus, though, Eye of Agamotto lands on the multiple members. Quenchable goes down immediately, so that's a fight win for Trent University, and they've already got this point halfway through.
Caxel gonna cop that Kraken impact in the enemy spawn, taking down Gabe, and look at all of this cart progress that we're essentially getting for free. Like, there hasn't really been a good team fight here. Trent are keeping 3 on the cart the entire time. Now, yeah, Silence Seduction just to keep them out of the point here. I believe there is someone on point contesting right now. Dark Magic is taken down by the Maelstrom of Madness, but nevertheless, if we can deal with that one person on point, we can keep this cart rolling, and the Mega Hurricane looks to do just that.
Mega Hurricane has landed. Sharknado comes in as well. Unfortunately, you cannot escape the jaws of defeat here. White takes down Marcus. Pick-Tack does land a nice Feast of the Abyss to at least stall onto the cart, and Gabe has popped the Eternal Bond. Quenchable is here. God of Thunder available. Looking to go crazy here. A little bit of a stall right now, but Quenchable is just getting boxed out by the Emma right now, and Milkmaid has popped the Eternal Bond. Caxel has swapped over the Kraken Impact, and all the meanwhile, White gets taken down by Eternix. It's a 5v5. Point is still making progress. Somebody's got to contest. Dark Magic, unfortunately, the Eye of Agamotto gets completely interrupted right in the faces of Trent University. I don't know if they're going to be able to stall out any longer. They need support altars. They need something, but Caxel has taken down Marcus. Dark Magic goes down as well, and Trent University University should all but secure the second point. God of Thunder comes down from Quenchable, but it's too little too late.
He's still contesting. If he can find even a single KO here, it might be good enough, but there's just so much pressure in the Carbon Crush, the roundhouse kick coming out from Katie is going to finally put him down, and mercifully Trent are going to be able to cap point B, but now with only 2 minutes to try and get that full cap, I think it's a pipe dream that they're ever going to be able to match Albany's 38-second time bank, but there is still an opportunity to get the full cap, and you know what? It doesn't matter. If you can get to OT, that is going to have to be good enough for now, but they're going to need to try and do it the same way they did their point B, and that's with staggered KOs, and White is hot on the trail right now, taking down Dark Magic, and there's the Eye of Agamotto to look for more.
Eye of Agamotto, Kraken Impact as well. Dark Magic unfortunately gets staggered in Sonic Seduction once again. I feel like I'm watching Deja Vu because they did this for the second point. They Sonic Seduction them into spawn.
They missed everything. They just split completely onto every single side there, and even with a Sonic Seduction, like, nobody peeks it, so now Albany have all these ults and Trent just use 3 to get nothing.
Marcus does pop the Raging Royal flush here. Quenchable's in the back line being a menace. Let's see what they can get. Amogus does take down Pictac, though, who was on that Venom, but it doesn't matter. Quenchable! 2 for the bank here, maybe a third. There we go. That's the Quenchable that we saw in the beginning of this match here, in the beginning of these rounds. Pear and White, though, do have Omega Hurricane plus the Jeff team up. This should be a fight win, all things considered.
Look at Albany. They only use the Raging Royal Flush on that one. True. They have every ult they could possibly want, so maybe we are going to see that Jeff Nato come out early on, but you have more than enough to be able to live through it and potentially even punish White for it. There's the God of Thunder and the Rage of Ultron, and they shut down the combo wholesale.
Beautiful, beautiful Rage of Ultron there. Mind you, it got that shadow buff a while ago where it does more damage to overhealth. That means that the Jeff Nato actually is super vulnerable to the Rage of Ultron. Very well played from Pictac. Nice counter. Now Trent University understand that. They're like, wait, we just get absolutely bursted out. Pear has swapped over to the Luna. White has swapped over to the Wolverine. And unfortunately, there is only 15 seconds left. I don't think either of them are going to be able to charge an ultimate up before this last fight.
There's going to be the Kraken Impact for both sides, though. Caxel versus Eternix. Who has got the hot hand with this ultimate? It's going to be Eternix taking down Among Us, and Caxel has to use his just to dodge, but the Trooper's Fist knocks him out. I don't think he got the debuff onto anybody, so we're not going to see Caxel hitting any resets, but we will be seeing him hit the lights.
You Albany have picked up multiple members. Trent University, unfortunately, on Midtown do go down here, and you Albany Gold with a nice 3-2 finish and a clean 3-0 for them to take the series. Very well played from them, but good job from Trent University to keep it competitive in these last 2 maps.
It was a very game Trent University. Like, I liked a lot of the strategies that they started off with, but yeah, that's going to be the MVP of the entire series right there. Shake what your mama gave you there, Thor. It's going to be unquenchable on the Thor, and we do now see why this hero was banned out, but whether it was the Thor, whether it was the Bucky, the Moon Knight, the Spider-Man at times, bro was putting up LeBron numbers, and there's a nice 21 final hits for you off a 37-11 performance from the God of Thunder. And Trent, I like, to their credit, again, they understand the ways that you can counter this one out. You do have to try and play with that Cloak and Dagger, get the Terror Capes, and punish Thor's aggression. You have to keep putting the damage on, pressuring him, forcing him to use those dashes to get out, not get in, because when he's in, that's when he's lethal. And there was some times where they were able to do just that, but once it got chaotic and they couldn't keep that God of Thunder pinned down, he was doing the very same just to them.
Yeah, and once again, I think this is just something that we've harped on and something just to bring up. I mean, you Albany's ultimate usage was just very, very crisp. You pointed it out, right, on that last fight prior to the Omega Hurricane plus Jeff the Landshark team up. They had 3 ultimates to use, the Eternal Bond, the Rage of Ultron. They also had a God of Thunder, and Pictac just did a very good job immediately countering the Storm ultimate and the combo there. Very, very well played. They essentially thought 3 or 4 fights ahead, and that was the big difference maker, where you saw Trent University, again, just trying to throw everything they can to desperation almost into that fight win, and unfortunately, they weren't able to get it, and that's kind of what happens. You have a desperation portal into nothing.
I think Trent learned the wrong lesson on point C. Like, they were able to get all the way through point B through stagger KOs one after the other, and they were even willing to invest, Eye of Agamotto, Kraken Impact, what have you, to make sure that they can continue that momentum. They tried to do the same on point C, but the Eye of Agamotto and the Kraken Impact, one after the other, didn't find what it needed. And as soon as the Kraken Impact came out, like I said, Albany, like ants, they just scatter. Half go this way, half go the other way. And then we see the Psionic Seduction coming down the center lane, and Albany are just like, we don't have to deal with this. We can just chill. And then suddenly that's 3 ults, no deaths, and then you come back with a 5-finger death punch of ultimates. You can withstand anything Trent have next. Like you said, 3-4 fights ahead. That is how you win games. That's how you win championships. And I know it's too early to call my shot here, but I just saw a 3-0. I'm calling you, Albany. They're going to be the champions of this semester here in Div 4. I'm like the great Bambino. I'm calling my shot here.
Bold claim that we'll have to revisit 8 to 10 weeks from now here, but
hopefully I won't have to eat my words.
Yeah, hopefully not. You, Albany, though, take the 3-0. They're up 1-0 in Division 4 over Trent University. I do feel like Trent, we may see this matchup again between these two teams, because that was a very, very competitive last 2 maps. And I think if they get their ultimate usage down, if they understand the economy, understand, maybe don't overinvest into their spawn, this is probably a different match. But again, shout out to Quenchable, arguably the MVP of the series. I agree with you, CB. I think it's very tough to make the argument for anyone else. I would have maybe given the nod to Dark Magic, but off of that, Magneto did look a little bit dicey. So Quenchable gets the nod for me. Very, very well played.
If not Quenchable for me, it probably would have been Marcus. A toss up between Marcus and Gabe, because I gave major props to the back line. And one of these things that you see that separates like good teams from great teams, it's an intelligent back line. And Albany they've got it. All right. If they keep this momentum up, if they can keep bolstering Quenchable, setting him up for success, they're good. But it takes a village to do that, and it's a very strong village over there in upstate New York.
Yeah. Well, with that series being concluded, we do have a bit of a longer break, 30-minute break, so you guys can go pick up some dinner, hopefully maybe a late night snack, depending on what time zone you're in. But we are going to take a short break as we head into our second series at around 7 PST, 10 EST. Don't go anywhere, or maybe go somewhere. Use the bathroom, go get some lunch, dinner, whatever fancies you, as we'll be back with our second series of the night on the first week of NECC Marvel Rivals.
frozen over like I am. Well, I know you know that life gets colder, colder when I'm older, older than I am. And I know you know that I have lost composure, but I'll hold you closer while I can. I never told you that I'm slightly broken, that I might lose focus when I am. I know you know that life gets colder, colder when you're frozen over like I am.
Welcome back, everybody, from the extended break here for week 1 of Marvel Rivals here at the NECC. I am still Shibby. That is CC over there to my...
No. Important distinction on that one.
Oh, that's CB. CB, my bad. Whoops, I got... My wires are crossed. I was doing NECC, then I got to CB. Yeah,
Look,
not the vibes. Not the vibes.
The vibes here are great, but I need to make an important distinction. I wasn't there, wasn't a part of that whole situation. Totally different people.
That sounds like what someone would say if they were there. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, I didn't realize, we have some time to riff. That must have been kind of a nightmare for you. Like, hey, you get randomly tagged in hate mail. Like, wait, whoa, I'm the wrong one. We're one letter apart.
Not really. I think for the most part, people were already already locked in on the situation. But every now and then, someone like in a Twitch chat will come up and be like, "I almost called you a mean name, but then I realized you're a different person." I'm like, I'm staying out of it. Well, I'm not speaking on anything that happened. I ain't talking about none of it. Whatever, hands off. Just different person. Just don't mistake me for.
You're dodging it. You're dodging it like Neo, and hopefully our two teams today can dodge some skill shots and some ultimates, as we do have our second series of the night, Texas A&M Gray versus ATU Esports, or ATU Green. Our rosters are down there. Shadvin, Robotunes, your boy Squeak, Lil Red Corvette, Love Squirrels, and Dizzard for ATU Green. And on Texas A&M Gray side, Asian Panda, America, Chaos Nix, Century Aces, Lariat Donald, and Hans Olo Hub. Your boy Squeak is taking it for the best name in my book right now.
I'm kind of on board with your boy Squeak there. I think this game, by the way, again, we're still in Division 4, but looking at the peak ranks of a lot of these players, we might be in for another banger between some of these teams. We got a lot of GMs and a lot of Celestials in the house today, and these are teams that could potentially contend with Division 2 or even some of the lower tier Division 1 teams, and we get to see them going head to head for Division 4, and it's a treat to get to kick off the season with back-to-back bangers. At least I hope I'm not cursing it this way, and seeing how we go. Maybe we can get more than 3 maps this time around. I feel like the curse goes on a schedule. It's normally me and Keg's week, so we might get another 3-0, but maybe we're lucky. Maybe we can split it down the middle.
Might be right. I mean, even though Series 1 is a 3-0, it still had some banger potential. The map 2, map 3, very, very close between Trent University and U Albany Gold. U Albany Gold taking it in overtime, both of these last 2 maps. But we are going to be moving on to domination. I have gotten word from Jarvis themselves saying Celestial Husk is still banned out. Now, CB, crazy guess. What map do you think we're going to for domination?
Do you want me to actually guess, or do you want me to just say the one that I already know we're going to? Because it's not.
Break the movie magic a little bit. What are we actually going to?
All right, we're going to Krakoa. Like, I'm pretty sure that was the one that got picked there. Yeah, it's Krakoa. Most banger soundtrack, by the way. Sorry to all my Arako lovers there, but you got to give Krakoa time to cook a little bit, and it builds up, and then it's bam, that's heat. I'd be lifting in the gym to the Krakoa map music.
I think Krakoa is also one of the most visually pleasing maps because of all the different ones. If you make it through all 3, all the different colors, I do say that, but we do have the museum map that's coming in later in a couple of weeks. We'll be in the comp scene here. That map is also very beautiful to look at, all the different colors and stuff. But for right now, Krakoa is just beautiful. A lot of different ways you can attack the map as well. It's a 3-lane map for domination. You can go through main. There's obviously a lot of flank routes for certain dive heroes. You've also got a lot of good long lanes for stuff like Hella, Phoenix, if they get let through. I think Krakoa really is a test for teams on how good they are on a multitude of different heroes.
And unlike that new map, Museum of Contemplation, there's no duck-shaped flotation device that you have to stay physically Velcroed to for the entire duration of the point in order to stay contesting it. Just got to stay in that nice little circle area, and, teams pretty much figured that one out, but my ranked teammates still quite haven't figured out how to stay on that damn duck floaty.
Yeah, I mean, they'll fix it. I'm sure. There's no way. NetEase is very tuned into the community. I'm very sure they've heard the hundreds, if not thousands, of complaints on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. I was
telling you before, we were talking about this map before we started casting today. I was talking about one of my ranked experience. I lost a game earlier today because I had a Cloak and Dagger on my team who popped Eternal Bond to try and go in and contest, and they slammed right into the side of it, and they weren't touching, so it was just like, OT's over, you lose. And I'm just like, man...
Yeah, Cloak and Dagger is coming back into the meta as well, so it's kind of exposing some of the maybe fake support or fake strategist players that like, oh, like, I'm just gonna play Gambit Invis, I'm gonna play them, and I'm gonna play what's meta.
It's not even their fault. Like you can't go up in the ults. Like, what are you gonna like? No, you're just stuck going horizontal, so you just slam face first in the side of the raft, and you can't go. Like,
yeah, it's unfortunate.
Long going, give me my elo back.
I don't even get my elo back when someone leaves my games. I think that's been my biggest issue. It's not people getting on to the cart. It's actually getting people to play a full match of Marvel Rivals and not tilting. That's been my biggest challenge, and hopefully we'll do something about that here. The levers, just give me my elo back. I don't care if they get punished. Like, just give me my elo back, please. Like, I don't want to lose minus 25 because somebody decided, hey, first team fight, I'm just going to start jumping off the map here. But unfortunately, you can't really do that in Krakoa, as well as I'm interested to see what these teams have been paying attention to. I feel like last series we kind of got what we expected, right? Gambit was opened up, you know, teams were playing Gambit. We saw triple support from Albany. We didn't see a whole lot of Loki, but that was kind of because Moon Knight was in play. Do you think we'll get more of the same? Do you think we'll see any Deadpool? Because we unfortunately didn't see any last series.
We saw a flash of a Lord icon, you know, just for a little bit of aura farming, but we didn't actually get to see any Deadpool in play. And to be honest with you, like, people rate both Stratpool and Vanpool pretty highly, but we don't actually see him coming out a whole lot because there are just so many stronger things in play right now. Like we mentioned, Cloak and Dagger, Gambit, especially when it comes to the strategist. Like, you know, the strat pool is like maybe the third, fourth thing that you're reaching for, maybe even fifth if you count, like, you know, Luna, Invis. Rocket is also still strong in a lot of situations. And when it comes to the Vanguard lineup, you've got people who could just completely run the lobbies, shut down 90% of things with their ultimates. You've got your Magnetos, your Doctor Strange, who just got a huge buff, and a lot of people are making do with those Eye of Agamotto plays. Emma's always going to be strong. Venom's already going to be strong. The Thing is S tier, so even the strongest forms of Deadpool, sadly, I kind of feel like there's just not enough room at the top for you, boy.
Yeah, it just gets crowded out by pretty much everything. Also, a handful of those heroes you mentioned pretty much counter whatever Deadpool wants to do the moment he ults, whether it's the big test, whether it's the other one. If you're trying to get your jackpot, like, if the thing's in play, you're not getting your jackpot, unfortunately. No dashes, no jumps, nothing like that. You're kind of just sitting there waiting to get clobbered out.
One of my favorite things to do, though, has been to use the Ponage Pound / Ban Hammer to just delete a Jeff. If you just put it on a Jeff, he cannot spit at all, or he just dies. Because it's not a beam projectile. Some of you guys might not know this. Jeff's primary fire is actually like a bajillion tiny little projectiles that go out in an arc, so it's like the illusion of water. So every little single molecule of hydrogen dioxide that goes out there is a death nail for that little shark boy, that little chud son. He got to keep his mouth shut or he's done.
Yeah, you essentially just remove healing from Jeff. Like, it is kind of sad, but we'll see. I'm interested if any teams are, like, you know, willing to bust out the Deadpool. Since the seasons have gotten a little bit shorter, I feel like, you know, when a new hero releases, people aren't confident enough to take it out unless it's like absolutely broken, like Gambit, for example. People are not confident enough to bust it out until they get like a season and a half, maybe until the meta kind of shapes up around it. Deadpool, one of those heroes that I think just needs a little bit more time in the kitchen as we do get into the ban phase here, and Hela being removed. And I think these bans will probably mirror a lot of what you'll see in like higher elo solo queue. I was saying Celestial, Eternity Plus. No Hela, no Groot, no Phoenix potentially. No Magic, though. That's a really good scouting job from ATU Green there, because Chaos Nyx is a Magic one-trick.
I just, shouts out, by the way, to your scouting, because I just pulled up the spreadsheet you gave me, and I was like, hang on. You don't just see Magic bans in organized play unless there's someone in the lobby who is very proficient at it. So likely, we're probably going to see that backup pick coming out from the side of ATU Green. Chaos Nyx most likely going to pick up the Wolverine, and that's something that Texas A&M probably feel a little bit more safe and secure in dealing with, especially when you have the Phoenix for a little bit of damage. You still have some options to try and pick and ban around it. There's the Bucky that just got protected by the other side, so you are definitely going to have that option as well. Just for those of you maybe checking in, not familiar with how the ban system works, these are the MRC ban systems, so all of these bans and all of these protects are universal. Every single ban you go for, neither team can play it. Every single protect you go for, though, means it's on the field for both sides. So that Bucky, both teams are going to have that opportunity to leverage.
Ooh, there's the Loki ban, and we're what, 4 bans in now, and I have not seen a Gambit being removed from play here. It kind of feels like chicken from both of these teams. Like, oh, are you going to ban it? Or am I going to ban it? Are we going to save it? Like, I think neither team feels good about banning the Gambit. I'm really interested to see if they're going to run the Gambit Invis combo. This save is probably really crucial for ATU Green. I suspect it's going to be something like a Strange, potentially the Gambit if they're willing to pull the trigger here. I'm really interested to see. Moon Knight, though, going to be the one on the map here. Both series now have protected Moon Knight. I think they're onto the sauce, CB.
Well, and so that kind of puts, Texas A&M in kind of a weird situation. They're going to protect the Gambit. I was going to say they have to either ban now Gambit or Group, but if they're going to protect the Gambit, that means this last ban should, in theory, be Group to try and shut down that Wombo combo. Otherwise, they're going to have to deal with that. And yeah, they saw that one coming a mile away. Again, same thing that we saw all series long in our first series of the day. You want to play the Moon Knight? Fine. You want to have the Hand of Khonshu built up every time you sneeze? Fine. But you're not going to be able to lock us in a strangling prison. We're going to be able to escape from your wrath.
Yeah, and it sucks for ATU Green because they also banned away the other, like, pretty solid combo. There's the strat pool, though, being removed. Texas A&M. Yeah, that's a good scout from them as well on ATU Green. I like that strat pool ban. Like I said, I wanted to bring up the point for ATU Green. They did ban away the Angela, which I think Heaven's Retribution is like the second best ultimate to combo Hand of Khonshu with, because it's kind of like Strangling Prison if you can land it onto multiple members. So they don't really have that combo ability. We have just been seeing people use it with the Doctor Strange ultimate, the Eye of Agamotto. But with the Moon Knight being saved, again, I'm interested to see if Texas A&M and ATU Green are just going to match Moon Knight for Moon Knight, or is it going to be 3 support? Is it going to be 2-2-2? Are they kind of kept up on the times? A&M, though, opting in for Gambit and Cloak and Dagger. CB, do you think it should be Gambit Invis for them?
Honestly, right now, I'm kind of on board the Cloak and Dagger train. Like, Gambit Cloak and Dagger, I think, is just as good, if not better, than the Gambit Invis, especially when neither team, especially, I was going to say when neither team is using the Magneto, but then I realized they both have Magneto, so I'm going to kind of double back on that. I actually kind of think now with the Magnetos in play, unless you can be able to utilize the Mag Bubbles, if you can coordinate well enough around that ultimate, like we didn't really see a lot of last time, the Invis might actually prove to still be the dominant main healer out of these two, but you can't underestimate the utility of a Terror Cape, and you definitely can't underestimate the surprise factor of a good Strange TP for an early forward position. ATU Green gonna get themselves on point first.
I feel like a lot of pro teams we've been seeing use the portal. They'll use to try to kidnap somebody, right? Like they'll walk through the portal, you'll take them down immediately, and that's the first fight win. This is much more of a classic old school kind of portal, as we do see America on the Phoenix get taken down immediately. Little red Corvette and your boy Squeak dumping the damage into Texas A&M Gray, and that early portal, that early forward position leads them to that first fight win.
Also leads them to a Hand of Khonshu early on from your boy Squeak, despite Chaos Nyx keeping up with 75% of his own there to that ultimate. Your boy Squeak is going to have the advantage, and I wonder if Texas A&M are going to have this one scouted out. They should surely know that if Chaos Nyx is as close to his ult as he is, your boy Squeak has to be there. The element of surprise, it's kind of 50-50 right now, but you can tell he wants it right now. He is cautioned for it, gonna let it rip the Ankh for a little bit more pull, and he gets a beautiful two-piece. And with Han Solo being one of the two that gets taken down there, you can't afford to take this fight. This one's a wash.
Yeah, your boy Squeak has been playing quite a bit of Moon Knight, at least in Season 6 here.
He's 50% to another one, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, that's disgusting, right? That obviously leads into a kill. And your boy Squeak takes down Chaos Nyx, and that's another Moon Knight 1v1 achieved here. And your boy Squeaks is just getting very aggressive, understanding that there's very little return damage. And there's another Hand of Khonshu.
Yeah, he just completely beats Chaos Nyx with a punch, laps him with the second one, and this one not going to find much of anything, but still splits Texas A&M, and so Little Red Corvette with Arata's third shot going to take down Lariat Donald. Going to be rezzed back up, but again, BRB is a major resource that you've already burned out. Your boy Squeak is just getting so much damage, building up these ultimates so fast that, TAMU Gray, they can't even track it.
25% right now, and the other thing that they must be paying attention to is ATU Green. With those two team fights, 80% of the ultimate or the point has been taken, as we do see Gambit not folding. Sentry Aces does pop that Royal Flush. Love Squirrels is going to kindly respond with the Invisible Boundary. We do see Eye of Agamotto lapped in with the Eternal Bond here, lands onto multiple members, and Chaos Nyx finally able to get their first Hand of Khonshu and their first couple elims. layering it on top with the Eye of Agamotto, but Texas A&M, they threw everything in the kitchen sink for that team fight win. 95% for ATU Green. That's one team fight away from winning this round.
Yeah, but it might be a while. I mean, actually, no, it's not going to be a while. Actually, they've got the Raging Royal Flush. They were able to hold on to that one. I was going to say, we were so starstruck with the Moon Knight Ultimate Charge, we weren't paying attention to the Raging Royal Flush, but you've got to keep your eye on the Gambit when he's on the field. There's a BRB, or sorry, a Cosmic Yarn Amplifier from America to try and keep Texas A&M in the fight, but they lose Chaos Nick so early.
Ooh, nice. Eye of Agamotto lands onto two strategists for Texas A&M, and that Kraken impact not even really needed. Still guaranteeing the eliminations. 99%. Lariat Donald has swapped over to the TP. I just don't think they have enough time. Yeah, you might as well just save it here.
They don't. Little Red Corvette though, so nice with it. You see those shots onto the
yes,
onto the on the Moon Knight coming down. Just those little extra bits of damage that come through. The tracking and the leading, the targeting is so crisp and clean, and it looks so good right off the bat there from ATU Green. Your boy Squeak, you know, how many times we got to say it? Bro's got another hand of Khonshu. 10k damage off of just one round of Krakoa. We're only one round deep, and he is already in 5 digits. He might be in 6 by the time we get through all 3.
I apologize to my solo queue teammates today. I will be locking Moon Knight and just trying to play it as much as I can. I have been inspired. I knew Moon Knight had the sauce, but I mean, your boy Squeak is just doing amazing things on it. We even saw it in last series. Just crazy, crazy Moon Knight plays. I believe this is his 3rd hand of Khonshu in 2 rounds of play, essentially 3 team fights. Yeah, your boy Squeak is going to open up with this. Though ATU Green don't have a lot of ultimate economy to work with, unfortunately for Texas A&M, because they overinvested on that fight win, they actually have nothing to carry over into this second point here. This means ATU Green, I think they should be able to take this first point fight, all things considered.
Well, there's going to be the teleport from Texas A&M to get themselves onto the point first, and crucially onto ATU Green's side there, but there's the on from your boy Squeak. He doesn't even need to farm up the damage for the new ultimate because he's got the hand of Khonshu, splitting off the Gambit from the rest of the team there, and good heals from America to try and keep Century Aces alive, but again, now the strategists are so far away from the rest of the team, so watch the front line's health bars fall.
Very, very well played from your boy Squeak, going for that more assassin-style Moon Knight, and that's the big thing. I will say this, as this team fight wraps up, Moon Knight can be played in very different play styles. Fundamentally, yeah, sure, he's an easy hero, right? You shoot the Ankh, you throw it down, but there are multiple styles you can play. You can go from the more brawl front line style that we saw earlier, or we can go for this, where he's going for the assassination onto the supports, onto the strategists. Being able to weave between those two play styles seamlessly is what's causing your boy Squeak just get so much more value. Another hand of Khonshu, by the way.
Yeah, the angles are just so good, too. There's that hand of Khonshu, and again, it's going to split up Texas A&M. It's going to force out the Raging Royal Flush as well, but Dizzard 3% away from one of his own should be able to mirror that one, but there's an invisible boundary now going to come out from ATU to try and give themselves a little bit more breathing room so they don't have to invest that Royal Flush just yet. Chaos Nyx, though, investing that hand of Khonshu is going to take Dizzard down, so the Royal Flush will not be happening just yet, as Chaos Nyx is going to be the one getting the res from the BRB there, but your boy Squeak is still just running roughshod over the entire front line, halfway to another hand of Khonshu, and your boy just will not be shut down. Takes the duel with Chaos Nyx, takes his life, takes his lunch money, takes his girl, and takes another handy handful of percentage onto the point for ATU Green.
It's your boy, Skinny Squeak here, coming in for ATU Green, just taking out Texas A&M Gray, but they do have 4 ultimates available. Eye of Agamotto, Eternal Bond, CYA. We do see Robo Tunes, though, taking the initiative, lands the Eye of Agamotto onto multiple strategists for Texas A&M. Unfortunately, nobody does go down. Dizzard does pop the Raging Royal Flush. Eternal Bond gets used, or will be used, hopefully pretty soon. Never mind. Multiple members have already gotten down. Another hand of Khonshu. I mean, I'm just going to get tired of saying it at this point, CB.
Yeah, and I bet Texas A&M are going to get tired of dealing with it. Meteor M now going to come out from Asian Panda, taking down Love Squirrels. It's a pretty high-value KO, but he doesn't have the HP to follow up on it, and 98%, is there going to be a touch? I believe America is there on the point. Hand of Khonshu from Chaos Nyx will take down Dizzard, but ITU Green not out of the fight. They think they can turn this, and Little Red Corvette is going to do just that. And a little bit of BM, just trying to shoot the BRB, prevent the res from coming out, but it's not going to be enough. Texas A&M with the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier should be able to close out this fight and finally, mercifully, get themselves on the board here on Carousel. But second verse, same as the first. What did it cost you? Everything.
Yeah, Texas A&M have nothing coming into this next team fight. They've got to play perfect Marvel Rivals here, and saving grace potentially is that Larry Donald is at that 55% mark for the Eye of Agamotto, but I wouldn't even put it past Love Scrolls and ATU Green to aggressively pop this invisible boundary and just take down whoever's stuck in it. There's not much you can do, and by the time they're out, your boy Squeak, 60% on that Hand of Khonshu. I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to farm it up and win this next team fight. A really dominant position. Asian Panda, though, does take down Love Scrolls. That's a big ultimate not being available for ATU Green. One strategist as well, Dizzard, 80% on that Raging Royal Flush, 90% on this Hand of Khonshu, and he's built it up, and he's gonna drop it, separating the supports from the tanks in a 1v1 between the two Moon Knights. Chaos Nix needs to win this, and there we go. Takes him down. Red Tunes takes down America. Here comes the invisible boundary that I talked about as Love Squirrels spawns back in. I have Agamotto, though, from Lariat Dono lands onto 4 members, but there's no follow-up. Your supports, your DPS are down. There's just nothing left. No gas left in the tank. 99% for ATU Green, and that should be the round. Ooh.
Chadvin is going to be the hero of that fight. Chaos Nix wanted to try and follow up that Eye of Agamotto with the Hand of Khonshu, but he got shut down. He's not going to have it. There's going to be a BRB to get Century Aces back on the point, but there's no one touching it in time, and the Hand of Khonshu is not going to land in time. Chaos Nix just got completely MK gapped. We gotta say it. Your boy Squeak just putting the entire team on his back, showing what this Moon Knight can do, and carrying them to one of the easiest Krakoa victories I think I've ever seen.
19-3-0. Not a crazy scoreline by any means, but the fact that this map went so quickly, I mean, 10 finals, Little Red Corvette as well, I mean, picking up some of that slack. 9 finals, 20 elims, like both of these two in tandem worked very, very well together. And I know we kept the camera a lot on your boy Squeak for good reason. I mean, he farmed like 6 or 7 Hand of Khonshus, but really, really well played from Little Red Corvette, landing a lot of those crucial shots that you mentioned, CB, onto the counterpart. They both ran 2-2-2 compositions. Unfortunately, the DPS duo for ATU Green coming out on top. And I am suspecting that Texas A&M is going to ban the Moon Knight out. Maybe, I don't know what gave it away, but that's what I'm just guessing.
I would also try and avoid maybe going to the usual suspects for map picks as well. You know, maybe don't go to Central Park, maybe don't go to Midtown, maybe any map where Moon Knight has historically been particularly strong. You either gotta insta-ban him or you are going to be running right into the same trap over and over and over again. And you know, we can even talk about what happens next, even if you get that Moon Knight off the field. We can talk about whether or not Moon Knight is a mechanically intensive hero. You don't really got to aim with him. You just take the angles, let the Onks do all the work. But you still got, like you said, Little Red Corvette, who's just so nice with it. The shots always just on point, just pure mechanics there on the Bucky, putting on a show. And that is a formidable front line that you can't really plan to ban out both of them and still be able to get away with banning out that magic, like we talked about.
Yeah, there's a lot to contend with here, as well as Little Red Corvette does have a pretty interesting bag, right? The Bucky also plays the Moon Knight. If that gets banned out, has an Iron Man in his back pocket, which could be really interesting to see. Your boy Squeak also plays Bucky, right? So they can swap between each other. And like you mentioned, banning both of those out, you leave so much open. ATU Green, right now, they're in a power position in my mind. Draft-wise, they don't really have to change too much up. It's Texas A&M that has to go back to the drawing board, look at the bans, understand what they need to do. As we are going to Kunlun. Yes! I love this map, by the way.
I'm a big Heart of Heaven enjoyer. I gotta be honest, I didn't like it all that much when it first came out, but I kind of came around to it because one of the things that always kind of gets me about maps like Central Park is the way that, you know, the destructible cover kind of rebuilds itself and it just completely like messes up team fights. But you know, Heart of Heaven, you got the smoke, you've got the ability to kind of just like lurk in the smoke. It's the only thing that rebuilds itself. You've got the crazy attacker and defender spawns on point B that make it some of the most exciting rivals play that you will ever see. And if we see these two teams, you know, step up to one another, you know, try and get rid of that MK gap, we might actually get to see just that. ATU Green, like you said, they don't got to change up their ban phase. They just got to ban the Magic outright again. Ball now going to be in Texas's court. Are they going to go for... Yeah, of course they're going to go for the Midnight ban.
Yeah, but now we just save Bucky here if I'm ATU Green, unless they're going to try to save something else. That's a nice save, Texas A&M, keeping that Thor for Garlo.
It's the second Thor save we've seen today.
Yeah, Garlo, that indicates to me that Garlo will be coming in. I'm interested to see who's going to be subbed out here. America was in for that first map. Maybe they'll be back to their sub position. It's tough. I think if I'm ATU Green, though, I save the Bucky and we just go with it. I do love the Groot save. Defensively, on point 1 specifically, you can hide that Ironwood wall behind that big bridge or whatever that is, that building, and no one can really walk past you. You can't really get CC'd. I love that. Also taking away the Angela. This is also a very good Angela map. I forgot about that.
Yeah, especially point A. Point B as well, because of the verticality of it. Like, Angela... Very strong on Heart of Heaven. I think that's a good ban. Texas A&M with a Bucky ban. So, okay, they get the 2-for-1 special there when it comes to the front line. I very much so like this for Texas A&M. So they're not going to have access to that Magic. I'm curious, though, is this Protect going to be on the Wolverine? Because you have a tasty, juicy, succulent tree to snack on if you're Wolverine. And we know that's the backup pick. If they can't have Magic, they're going to want to have the Wolverine. Who knows what they're going to have, because they don't have any control over it anymore. They have missed the Protect, and that opens the door for ATU Green to go ahead and go for that Wolverine ban, keep that Groot nice and safe. Bit of a misplay in the ban phase there.
Technically, a no save is kind of a save because you're saving something. They just don't know what you're saving, right? Invis does get saved here for ATU Green. I would just ban the Wolverine out. That's probably the biggest thing. Maybe the Punisher if you're really stuck on playing this Groot, if you're like hard-headed and you want to force Groot on point A, B, and C there. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Wolverine is a much more doable matchup now as long as you're in that Ironwood wall range. They are going to end up taking away the Venom. I like that. A lot of verticality that you mentioned, CB. Also works in the favor of this Venom. But with the Hela being banned out, do we see an Iron Man from Little Red Corvette?
Possibly, but there's also a lot of other things to consider. Gambit made it through alongside Loki, and we can already see, a Gambit on our screen. 2 of them, as a matter of fact, the same 2 suspects as before. Neither team reaching for the Loki, instead going back for that that Cloak and Dagger on one side. Love Squirrels going for that Invisible Woman on the other. And there's, like you said, there's Garlo coming in.
Yeah, Garlo's going to take over. America was in for that first map here, but
don't say take over America.
Yeah, well,
Garlo is going to sweep the nation, bro. Is taking over America.
Couldn't be any worse than what we have right now, as Garlo is going to be on the Thor. Yeah,
you run the show, Garlo. I trust you.
Yeah, you run it. You play. You're a Thor player. Respectable. That's a respectable tank player.
It's a real
the big thing to note
right there.
The big thing to note for this map, at least on point A, is that middle building, the high ground specifically on that. This is where a lot of hit scans like to play. This is where you're going to see a lot of dive heroes or people contend. Whichever side, whether it's the offense or the defense, whoever has control of this specific building generally tends to win the round. Once it gets flipped, which usually is a matter of can you snipe somebody out, can you get the dive going, Chaos Nyx does have that initial, as I say that, falls down. One of the supports has to be looking up there, by the way. Like, you have to consistently help your duelist here. As we do see a Phoenix and a Wolverine for your boy Squeak and Little Red Corvette. 2 heroes that were not on the scouting report.
No, but they do also have that team up, though, so that Wolverine going to be nice and topped up on the HP when he goes in. Finally finds his prey, but a lot of space already given up in favor of ATU Green, so they're already able to get their meat hooks on the point there. Good kidnap onto Garlo. Welcome to the series, my friend. You'll get a BRB for your troubles, but you're going to have to lick your wounds before you come back into this fight, my friend. He's going straight for your boy Squeak as soon as he comes back, too, but the support is there, the team up, the passive, so much going your boy Squeak's way. He can just let those claws fly. He's lost Dizzard, and Invisible Boundary is going to be forced out from ATU early on here, so we have to try and make this worth our while now.
Yeah, they've got to at least try to get some percentage here, investing that early strategist ultimate. But Garlo takes down Corvette. It's a 5v5 at the moment. Asian Panda, though, not swapping over to the Strange, is stubbornly sticking on to the Magneto. Garlo, using the God of Thunder to get himself out of a sticky situation, ends up dropping the hammer onto Shadven, and ATU Green's offense should be stifled. 39% though does get taken. They do get something for that early invisible boundary that you mentioned.
You call out the lack of the Strange swap, though, and I like the discipline for ATU to not go for that just yet. Now we're going to see RoboTunes making that swap for a little bit of extra shielding, and you should still have that opportunity should you need it. But now being on the Strange in this next fight, or if you end up in an OT fight, you have to make sure RoboTunes is the first to die so you can use that teleporter. Otherwise, this pick might all be for naught.
Triple support for Texas A&M. CYA does get used immediately, and it's taken down immediately. A bit of a terrible placement there out in the open. We're going to see if A&M is going to commit to something else. Here comes the Raging Royal Flush. Dizzard, I believe, wasn't able to get theirs off in time. And Shadven, one way or another, popped the clobbering time. Unable to find anybody, though. Little Red Corvette, last stand comes in for your boy Squeak. Does pick up a couple members. Shadven as well coming in. Unfortunately, Texas A&M do have the numbers advantage here. No supports. Drizzard is back in spawn, and Garlo takes down Shadven. 2 fights and a minute and a half now on the clock.
Was a good, ultimate there that comes out from your boy Squeak, but also a little bit of counter synergies. You saw the clobbering time come out, and I mean, Shadven really wanted to try and confirm the KO off that, but yoink, no, your boy Squeak just takes that gambit for a ride, and they weren't able to confirm the cleanup there, so they had to invest the ultimates. Now we're making even more swaps here. Shadven onto the Rogue, trying to go a little bit more divey, a little bit more CC, try and keep this Thor in check. His health bar is low, but the support is there, and he still has the God of Thunder if he needs that bailout, and he's going to use it now.
God of Thunder lands onto a couple stuns somebody. Is he actually going to be able to get the elimination, though, onto the Phoenix? Garlo going very deep. Good supports from Texas A&M to keep him up here. And I like the strategy from ATU Green, as we do see an Eye of Agamotto land onto 4 members of Texas A&M, and that could just blow the point completely open. We do see Texas A&M do still have the availability on that Strange if ATU Green can actually clean everybody up. Hansel, though, does pop the Eternal Bond. Asian Panda with the Meteor M as well. Unfortunately, not able to land onto anybody, but it's still going to stall point. And we do see Chaos Knicks swap over to the Strange portal. They're going to come back in round 2 onto the point against ATU Green as Rogue Shadven pops the ultimate.
He's got the Heartbreaker on deck, but everybody seems to have evacuated, but is going to be able to find Asian Panda back onto the point where the fight is kicking off. Ensong Inferno going to come out from Little Red Corvette, and with a little bit of help from the rest of the squad, that should be Texas A&M getting cleaned up, mopped up off at this point, but Garlo's not done. Gonna trade out a KO onto Love Squirrels, but nevertheless, that's 2 ticks coming out. The teleporter already burned, so it should be the full cap coming out as Chaos Knicks gonna be forced to make the swap off of that Doctor Strange, or is he gonna keep it and try and mirror this front line here with a Strange on both sides? Again, I'm not a big fan of bringing the Doctor Strange out, and yeah, Chaos Knicks gonna actually make that swap over onto the Phoenix, because if you want to have that teleporter, again, you have to make sure that your Strange is dead, and if he's dead, he's not in the fight.
I do love this adaptation from ATU Green. Triple tank, right? Triple Vanguard into what is a 3 support composition from Texas A&M. And Shadven on the Rogue essentially plays kind of like a beefier dive duelist, right? That's kind of where Thor and Rogue...
It's Daredevil. It's literally just Daredevil, but better.
Yeah. Pretty much. His Gambit isn't going to fold here. Century Aces does end up popping the Raging Royal Flush. Big Eye of Agamotto once again from RoboTunes. Lands onto 3 members of Texas A&M. And that's the fight win. RoboTunes on this Strange. Back-to-back Eye of Agamottos.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like the Doctor Strange, he's not just the Uber driver anymore. I'm talking a lot about these teleport plays, but if you're gonna bring the Doctor Strange out, you're gonna want to leverage that Eye of Agamotto. Once upon a time, it was one of the strongest ultimates in the game, and with a couple of nerfs now once again, it very well might be, if you can land it right where you need to, like RoboTunes has twice now, it will decide the fight for you. It will get more progress, and we're threatening that point B cap. And you can even see RoboTunes with that shield up, holding the door, trying to stop any anyone from getting in. Garlo is going to be felled, res, but the cap comes through, and we've denied the scrappy second point fight that on this map tends to bleed off so much of that clock.
Yeah, Larry O'Donnell sticking to this rocket, even though Phoenix is still in play. Like Little Red Corvette, by simply existing with their ultimate, essentially stops the biggest thing about what was a triple support composition. Century Ace is actually swapping over the Squirrel Girl. I love this, right? Triple tank, you want to go for that big AoE damage. Moon Knight not available. You can farm your ultimate very quickly. Functionally works the same like Moon Knight, just not as much damage and not as big of an impact ult here as we do see the Squirrel Girl throw down here. Garlo, God of Thunder, comes in as well. Unfortunately not landing onto anybody, no eliminations. And the Ensong Inferno is going to completely wipe everything off the floor. Texas A&M get completely destroyed here. Lariat Donald, buddy, swap off the rocket now.
Yeah, we can't be staying on that rocket when there's a Phoenix in play. The damage is just too good. And speaking of damage, the Squirrel Tsunami and the God of Thunder is a lot of damage coming at you real fast, but ATU Green are able to tank all of it and then some, and then return it tenfold with the Raging Royal Flush and the Ensong Inferno, and they get to hold on to 4 more ults to come into this next fight with, and they've now forced out the healing factor, so Chaos Nix cannot play aggressive on this Wolverine or he will get punished.
Looking for Shadvin here, looking to get that Heartbreaker going, trying to steal some of that ultimate charge, especially from Hansel, which is exactly what they're going to do. That's going to prevent any of these big support ultimates coming in. Shadvin is a rogue connoisseur, an expert on this hero, as you see them pilot their ultimate to a fight win. That's all they needed. ATU Green, fantastic job on that team fight.
That's going to be, should be the full cap coming through. A token resistance there from Sentry, not able to get in. 37 seconds in the time bank for a Heart of Heaven full cap. You know, we do tend to see a lot of extra endings on this map, so it's not the end of the world, but once we kind of shifted into that last gear there, once we got past that really strong defensive hold on point A, it really never shifted back Texas A&M's way. ATU Green, they got themselves in the driver's seat. They kept their foot on the gas and they drove all the way non-stop, all gas, no brakes to the end of point B. And a lot of it was off the back of that Phoenix swap that we saw come out. Just completely, like you said, shut down the rocket play, shut down that Cosmic Yarn amplifier and any benefit you would have ever got from it. And also some of these weird swaps that we're seeing coming out as well, like, you know, the Squirrel Girl coming out in lieu of that Moon Knight. But I think we got, hey, it's attack response, don't take the bait yet. Oh wait, no, we see there's a strap pull on the other side. We are going to see a Deadpool today.
Oh, my prayers have been answered. Thank you, Double G from the skies. We do get the Deadpool strategist pool. Some would say the least interesting out of the bunch. Honestly, though, I don't think any version is boring, especially because of how quickly you can get that jackpot. That is a lord.
That's a lord icon.
Yeah, that's scary. As we do see Texas A&M channeling their inner Deadpool as well. Triple support here, pseudo, we'll call it. Garlo on this Thor, Sentry Aces as well. Chaos Nix on this Phoenix, trying to just combat Little Red Corvette here. And I'm really interested to see if ATU Green, if Robotoon specifically, can get those massive AoE Eye of Agamottos that we've been seeing getting time and time again. Although on the offensive, Garlo is just having his way with them.
Yeah, but there is the peel and the healing there. Shadvin going to be coming up on that ultimate here very shortly, and I like the idea of using the Pwnage Pound to potentially shut down the Phoenix on the other's team, because it does make it a skill shot. Anytime you miss a primary fire, you take damage, and you can make a Phoenix play scared. You can just completely ruin that confidence with one well-placed ultimate, but it looks like no, instead, we are going to be going for the final exam coming out here from Shadvin. That means ATU want to try and turn up the tempo, but Texas A&M are looking to match it.
They're both vying for their jackpots at the moment. I believe Shadvin is trying to save it for that last second. Asian Panda, though, unfortunately not able to get their jackpot. So both strat pool ultimates falling short by 1. I believe both of them were 6 out of 7.
Don't say that. And by the way, that's going to put them both on a roughly 35-second cooldown, give or take, and then a little bit more based on how well they do once they have their abilities back online. But speaking of abilities being online, both teams are going to have Invisible Boundary. Chaos Nix has beaten Little Red Corvette to the punch. And speaking of punch, a big one coming through. There's that Eye of Agamotto, just like you said, coming out from Robotoons, shutting Chaos Nix down. And ATU Green with a good start to a defense here.
God of Thunder comes in, answered in kind by Love Squirrel's Invisible Boundary, as we did hear a Raging Royal Flush come out from Century Aces. Unfortunately, Texas A&M on this offensive. 2 minutes have passed by, 2 team fights have happened, and nothing has gone their way so far. Dizzard, though, is channeling it, looking for it, potentially waiting for them to walk in. We'll see if the call gets made. End Song Inferno does get used. Shadvin is going to look to maybe match that final test here. Asian Panda using theirs does get the jackpot, I believe. Invisible Boundary taken by Hansel Hub. Your boy Squeak is looking for the Meteor M, unfortunately unable to land on anybody. Dizzard responds in kind, and here comes the final exam from Shadvin here. Can they get the jackpot, though? This is a battle of attrition, a battle of endurance, CB. Eye of Agamotto comes in from Lariat, and a massive ultimate comes in, lands on the multiple members for ATU Green, but unfortunately, Little Red Corvette takes that to the grave as End Song Inferno wipes down Texas A&M.
That's going to be 1 minute 20 left in the time bank, and a healthy investment coming out from both sides, but still an Eye of Agamotto for the side of ATU Green, and we've seen how good Robotunes has been at just stopping these fights before they even start. He seems to like to go aggressive, try and find an early stun onto the back line, and Texas A&M never really have an answer to it, especially when all of ATU go all hands on deck and try and confirm that one. So you have to keep an eye on the Doctor Strange. Where is the Sorcerer Supreme? He is in your back line, and he has got an eye.
Takes down Century Aces, a beautiful bubble from Squeak to make sure that he doesn't get interrupted. And here comes Shadvin again with another final test. This guy is just building ultimate after ultimate. Unfortunately, isn't able to get the jackpot, but it doesn't matter. Texas A&M have to reset. They've only got 30 seconds. Century Aces actually ends up popping the Raging Royal Flush. Here we go. This is their moment. They've got to take down ATU Green right now.
Invisible Boundary is going to be online, though, but there's that final exam now coming out from Asian Panda. Like you said, trying to build up that jackpot. Eye of Agamotto from Lariat Donald. Texas A&M are draining the coffers dry. They want this one so bad, but a Meteor M with a Raging Royal Flush could shut it all down. An End Song Inferno from Little Red Corvette, but it's still a little bit blunt. But nevertheless, your boy Squeak takes down Asian Panda. Century Aces going to fall as well, and ATU Green are somehow coming up ahead despite Texas A&M throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this fight. It still belongs to ATU Green. Heart of Heaven will be going their way, and there ain't nothing Texas A&M can do about it.
Very well played from ATU Green here. A full stop, full hold 3-0 for them. And dare I say that last half was decided by the better Deadpool here, because Shadvin multiple times was building up that ultimate much quicker. And there we go. There's the MVP. Yeah. That's my lad. That's my boy. There we go. Yeah. I mean, the game even said it, right? 31, 3, and 14. Now, obviously, not all accrued on the Deadpool, but did a lot of heavy lifting on that defensive-sided map.
Especially when you look at the damage numbers. That's why he's got the ace. That's why he's got the MVP. That's 13 final hits with 19k damage for a strategist, by the way. And a scant 15k healing. Still, you know, getting the better of Asian Panda in both of those stat lines. But you can kind of see that even as a strategist, you still kind of want to play Deadpool as a duelist. You just get so much ult charge off those bobbleheads as a strat pool that you can have that final exam ready to go. Or, you know, depending on who you're playing against. I'm still a believer in the Ponage Pound. That is my preferred weapon of choice, but maybe that's just because I don't like melee heroes, because I'm not built the way that these two are. And I don't think either, I don't know if Asian Panda is built the way that Shadvin is, because Shadvin, a little different.
Yeah, I mean, consistently getting those jackpots, throwing out the Lord Icon. I mean, just excellent strat pool play. Wonder if that's going to be removed into the next map here, as we will be going to Convoy for map 3. But Texas A&M just look a little lost, right? I feel like maybe a similar problem. I'm sensing a similar theme here as we did in the last series. Texas A&M, you aptly put it, you know, draining the coffers, throwing everything they can into those fight wins, and not properly using their ultimates with intention. I think that's the big thing. ATU Green, every single time, Robotunes, it felt like they were planning those fights out. Hey, I'm going to use my Eye of Agamotto here. Make sure I have bubble. Make sure I don't get interrupted. Boom, there we go. big ultimate lands onto multiple members. The follow-up is there from ATU Green. Okay, next fight, I'm going to use Ensong Inferno, or I'm going to use my big final test. Like, these are the things, these are the conversations you need to be having if you're Texas A&M, in my opinion.
And what it does when you're able to take the initiative like RoboTunes does with those ultimates is it applies more pressure to the enemy team. And when you're under pressure, you make worse decisions. Like you said, trying to throw everything. When your back is up against the wall, you can tell that overtime wick is about to flip over and you're going to be up against the clock. That's when you're like, I've got these ultimates. I need to use them or die. So you invest 3. But the team that's in the driver's seat, the team that made you have to make that call, they just say, we wait this out. And then we come back with our own ults. And then we win. And sometimes it's just that easy. When you were the team that sets the tempo, when you make the decisions, not have them made for you, you get the dubs.
Well, hopefully Texas A&M can come back from this short break with some decisive planning here. They're going to have a little bit of time. This will be a very short break, guys, as we head into map 3 between Texas A&M Gray and ATU Green. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very soon.
Nothing cuts quite like a memory, especially one that you're trying to forget. But I can't find the energy to rewind and reset. You build up to break me down. 'cause I lack the bravery. 'Cause I know I fear the end. One day we'll see a victory. Carry on until the sun will set. How does it feel? How does it feel to knock me around? Oh, we'll make a sound. Oh, we'll make a sound. Until I hit the ground.
Welcome back, everybody. Told you guys it was a very short break. I'm still Shibby. That's still CB. We are back for map 3 between ATU Green and Texas A&M Gray. Could be the potential last map for Texas A&M, or could be the start of a beautiful reverse sweep. I'm not entirely sure, but we do get our map, and we get Spider Islands. We've been getting a lot of different maps. We've been getting
Yeah. You know, maybe, okay, you know, we're getting a little bit of variety in the map pools, but the monkey's paw is curling, so we're not actually getting a lot of maps. But hey, you know, we're getting Heart of Heaven, we're getting Spider Islands. We got to see, what was the crazy one we got to see last series that we don't normally see? We got to see Symbiotic Surface coming out the gates. Like,
surface.
a lot of, you know, we're finally free of the tyranny of New York. It's not just, you know, Central Park, Midtown every single time nowadays.
Yeah, and then throw Hydra Charteris base in there, my mortal enemy of this game. As we do get into pick ban here, Texas A&M. Wonder if they're going to be able to get away with banning the Moon Knight plus the Bucky again. I feel like there isn't one, other than maybe the Moon Knight, I don't feel like it's a hero issue for Texas A&M. It's more of just them not being able to adapt and kind of perform on some of the stuff they're picking. Do I have it right, CB, or do you think there's just one hero other than Moon Knight terrorizing them?
I don't think it is a hero pick. I do think, you know, you do have to get some of these problem heroes off the table. You do have to try and get rid of that Moon Knight. I don't think you're particularly worried about the Thor Protect coming out from Texas A&M. You know, let them have their comfort hero there. Bucky Protect, though, from ATU, I think is also going to go a long way for them. Rather than trying to ban that outright, Texas A&M, they don't have that opportunity anymore. They now are going to have to face the wrath of Little Red Corvette, popping those Ratastern shots, rat-a-tat-tat, right down at you, and no Groot walls to block it.
Yeah, Mag Protect should be pretty crucial here, at least potentially dealing with that Kraken impact. The Protects have been really weird. I mean, I don't mind the Thor. I feel like they were doing pretty good. Texas A&M were kind of cooking on it, at least on the defensive side here. Now, it wasn't quenchable Thor, but it still was really good. Garlo was pretty proficient on that hero, getting a lot of those easy picks here. And Stratpool, once again, gets saved, but I don't know if that's the move, because that just means Shadvin is going to pick up Stratpool, no?
Most likely, and then you're also leaving a lot of things on the table right now that somebody is going to have to ban. Gambit is still on the field. Invis is still on the field. Loki is still on the field. Mantis is still on the field. There's still a lot of things that can, you know, take up that Stratpool's that Stratpool's game there. That if you want to try and invest in this pick and make it worth your while, you're probably going to have to try and reach for at least one of those bans. And I think with the Invis Protect, ATU Green have set themselves up for success. They have something to where they can be able to deal with those final exams that come out. There is a Phoenix ban that ends up coming out, and I think that opens up a couple of other interesting things. There we go.
Gambit being
there's the
as well.
So now I think the Stratpool Protect makes sense, but you did have to make sure that you invest that Gambit ban in order to make it make sense, because now you have either the Ponage Pound or the final exam to set the tempo a la the way you would with a Raging Royal Flush, and then you also have the Invis Woman Ultimate, the Invisible Boundary, to be able to parry anything that you need. You have your defensive utility as well. What I don't know about right now is this attacker spawn Vanguard lineup here with was that Thor Hulk that I'm seeing? No, that's Defender side, actually. That's Defender side. That's sticking. That's real.
Oh, and they're going to go with Mr. Fantastic as well. This is a brawl comp. Like, this is just, I'm going to run at you, big
yeah.
meatball, and we're gonna see who wins. Like, this is just hands to the face. ATU Green, I don't think they're prepared for this, as well as they've got triple support, so they don't really have the damage to deal with these meatballs. I do love that Lariat is on that Mr. Fantastic with Han Solo on the invis to kind of, you know, take advantage of that team up. Chaos Nix on the Psylocke, though, that's the only thing that's out of place for me. Gonna be really tough to find any sort of value into triple support. Love Squirrels, though, taking a bit of a different route, a detour here. Maybe thought, I don't want to get pulled off by a Spider-Man or get shoved away. As Hulk, Sentry Aces is in. Gonna be tough to play it into a Bucky, though, as he gets frozen and taken down immediately.
Yeah, that's a Bucky, that's a Carbon Crush from the Emma that comes out, and I think a Freeze might have also come out from the Luna as well. Just 3 back-to-back instances of CC, and Bruce Banner is sent back to Baby Banner form, sent all the way back to spawn, and ATU Green gonna keep this forward march going. With Robotoons now on the Rogue, has the potential for even more CC to come out, and it's just disgusting stuff coming out from ATU Green. Your boy Squeak with that Kraken impact doesn't even need to find the damage, just needs to put the fear of God, and a hook onto Garlo there. Gonna punish this god forever having messed with your boy.
It's interesting because Texas A&M have a brawl comp, but ATU is playing the 2 better brawl heroes. Like, you have Rogue and Emma on your side here. Like, they're just going to be able to walk right through you. The choke slam, obviously very, very good. Whether you landed onto Fantastic, Thor, or the Hulk, doesn't matter. And Rogue just seemingly is immortal because of how often she can get her abilities off, how much bonus HP she gets, and obviously the availability with that triple support lineup for ATU Green. It doesn't seem like she's going to be going down anytime soon here. Heartbreaker coming up in a bit. Han Solo Hub, though, does pop that invisible boundary. Fortunately, ATU Green, they will have to kindly respond with the fate of both worlds. And Asian Panda has popped the big test onto your boy Squeak, but it doesn't matter how many times he misses because he has Luna healing in his back pocket. Heartbreaker now gets taken down here. Shadfin takes down Han Solo Hub. Squeak takes down Asian Panda. And sure, the Dance of the Butterfly in the backline is able to take Little Red Corvette down, but it's not enough. ATU Green should just walk through this point 1 relatively easy, even though Mr. Fantastic is going to bounce on it crazy style.
Yeah, he's doing tricks on it for sure, but here's one trick that never gets old. It's a couple of shots to the dome from your boy Squeak, and another hook with a Trooper's Fist, the uppercut onto Garlo, and that should be enough for the cap, but your boy still got one in the chamber for Chaos Nix, and is gonna let that one fly, and it just looks so good for ATU Green. You know, every time Texas A&M come out with something even a little bit competitive, you know, Asian Panda with that Ponage Pound, it doesn't matter because the healing is there. The strat ults are on deck. The ult usage from Texas A&M is still so scattershot. It's just not coordinated. ATU are operating on a totally different wavelength right now.
Yeah, they're locked in here. Chaos Nix gonna lock in that Hella now swing away from that Psylocke. Maybe looking to poke some of these individuals down. 2 headshots, and one of ATU Green's supports do go down here. Sentry Aces stubbornly sticking onto this Hulk. Pops the Monster Hulk. Did get a shadow buff here. Isn't able to get, you know, CC'd as much here. But it doesn't matter because you just can put a boatload of damage into him, and he's going to turn back into that mini Hulk form or in that Bruce Banner form. Asian Panda, though, does have the final test available. We'll see if he ends up popping it. I mean, ATU Green are, just like you said, operating on a different wavelength. Kraken impact available for Squeak here.
Yeah, and like, here comes the Ponage Pound. There's not going to be any strategist to try and, you know, heal that one up, but bro is not missing any shots. Your boy Squeak is a deadeye right now with his finger on the trigger. He's got you in his sights. Robotoon's taking down 2, and I legitimately, I don't think your boy missed a single shot from the moment that ultimate got placed on him, so that's another wasted Deadpool ultimate, the Heartbreaker from Robotoons, and another uppercut for Garlo. That's the point B cap, and I don't really think that Sentry Ace is going to do a whole lot about it.
I'll get you to your web, kid.
I got you covered. They hit a checkpoint.
Unfortunate for Texas A&M. They are, for a lack of a better term, getting walked down by ATU Green. Like, ATU Green have not really pressed the Esky. They have just been walking forward with impunity, and Texas A&M just don't have an answer. Invisible Boundary from Han Solo Hub is available. It feels like they're gonna have to pop it. Donald as well on this Namor. Horn is available. Garlo on this Thor can drop the God of Thunder. They've got to combo something here. Even with this team up with Chaos Nyx. Armed and Dangerous comes in. Big Test gets put onto him, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't need to aim if his ultimate is just going to be the execution onto Texas A&M.
He's not going to be able to find the execution onto Garlo, but Garlo's still going to tuck his tail between his legs and get back into the spawn. There was so much aggression that came out there from ATU that no one was pushing the cart. So there is an opportunity at least for another fight for Texas A&M, and crucially, Han Solo did not pop the invisible boundary. So there is still defensive utility here. You don't have the threat of that Kraken impact and all the burst damage that could potentially come through. So I'd like to see this ultimate come out aggressively to try and reclaim this cart before things spiral way too far out of control. Little Red Corvette getting taken down there, huge from Century Aces, and there's the invisible boundary from Dizzard forced out, but this looks so good for Texas A&M now.
Yeah, their first fight win of this half. As I say that, though, Dizzard does take down Garlo, but they do have to back up. Texas A&M do have the man advantage. As I say that, though, ATU Green are spilling out of their spawn. Squeak takes down Chaos Nyx, and the tides have turned. The tables have flipped. ATU Green now on the offensive with their own man advantage. Han Solo does have the invisible boundary. Century Aces is looking for the opportunity to use this Eye of Agamotto. There it is. Lands onto multiple members, Dizzard and Love Squirrels. Unfortunately, there's no follow-up, and Century Aces actually gets taken out in the back. He's too far deep. Doesn't matter because Little Red Corvette pops the CYA. Finally, Chaos Nyx on this Hela. Goddess of Death used, but it's not going to pick up anyone here. And ATU Green, they are walking Texas A&M down into their spawn.
And without even a stain on their kicks. I mean, you saw that invisible boundary. We called it out 2 or 3 times from Han Solo. It just never happened. And I can understand that fear as a strategist player to be like, I've got this ultimate. I want to get the big ultimate. I want to save my entire team. But if I've already got a man or 2 dead, I can't pop this or it's just not worth it. So we just never get the opportunity to use it because anywhere you look, someone's dying. We're trying to go for these aggressive Eye of Agamotto plays, but everyone just turns and your boy Squeak pops a couple shots down range and we punish the aggression. Now we're down a man. Now we're too afraid to pop this invisible boundary, so we just never use it. Our defensive utility, not very defensive at all if it just never comes out. The only thing I saw was a blazing offense coming out from ATU.
Tides have turned here, and again, this could be Texas A&M's last round here. They are down 2-0 as the scoreboard aptly presents itself. ATU Green, mind you, held them on the Kunlun map. They weren't even allowed to get 1 point for Texas A&M here. And it feels like their hands are tied a little bit. The Moon Knight ban, sure, that's step 1, but how are you going to contend with everything that ATU Green is throwing at you? I mean, Squeak is just having a phenomenal series, whether it's on Moon Knight, whether it's on Bucky, doesn't matter what he's playing. He's just ripping Texas A&M apart piece by piece.
Sometimes when you're that damn good, you just can't ban a person like your boy Squeak, right? Like you can ban all the heroes in the book, but sooner or later he's gonna have to play something, and whatever it is, it's gonna be lethal. You can't ban your boy Squeak from the game. And on the Bucky, he has been phenomenal, just as he was, like you said earlier, on the Moon Knight. Punisher coming out from Chaos Nyx potentially could be what changes the calculus here for Texas A&M. They've also got Han Solo on the Mantis as well, so a damage boosted Punisher at that. And I don't know if that's something that RoboTunes really wants to tangle with right now, so I'd get out of there if I were you, my friend.
Yeah, damage boosted Punisher with Lariat throwing down those Terror Capes could provide for a lot of damage overload. As I say that, though, Shadvin does take down Chaos Nyx. That's the 1 DPS for Texas A&M Gray. ATU Green not too far back as they push Texas A&M into their spawn as they only get the cart right around the corner.
And look what your boys got. The Kraken Impact is on deck. And again, this is gonna be, it's gonna come down to the ult tracking for Texas A&M. Do they know that this threat is already lurking? And can they do anything about it, I guess, is the next question, because so far the answer to that one has been a resounding no.
Yeah, it would be a good opportunity for your boy Squeak to pop this. Chaos Nyx, though, does have Final Judgment available. Shadvin, Meteor M, kindly in respawn. Asian Panda has to make sure that he bubbles his Punisher. As I say that, though, here comes the Kraken Impact, and everybody scatter like ants. Texas A&M, you must tuck your tails and run into your spawn, be it you don't want to go down. Little Red Corvette, though, CYA does get popped. No BRB, though, for RoboTune, so it's a 5v6 for ATU at the moment. Texas A&M has to pop the Eternal Bomb, though. They take down the CYA finally. Dizzard, invisible boundary, does get used here. So Texas A&M fighting into blindness. Nice freeze. God of Thunder coming out from Garlo. Lands onto multiple members, but again, no follow-up. There's just no DPS. And that ATU green, that man disadvantage that they have, completely shored up. Century Aces now pops the invisible boundary. Should give A&M Gray a little bit more time. As I say that, though, Love Squirrels does burn the fate of both worlds here. And Little Red Corvette trying to survive. And in the meantime, your boy Squeak farms another Kraken Impact.
And it's going to be damage boosted off that Fate of Both Worlds as well. Garlo, though, able to find 2 from the back line. On a hunt on that Thor, is able to get away with a crime. Gonna come back to the rest of the team. That's gonna be a bunch of space able to be bought there for Texas A&M, so they may have finally broken the stranglehold on point A, and it's all thanks to Garlo, while everyone was looking at your boy Squeak, rightfully so. We should all be keeping our eyes firmly planted on the star of this show so far. Garlo, though, in the back line, making a star of himself and making quick work of Dizzard and Little Red Corvette, and this should be enough to at the very least threaten this full cap here, but ATU Green still have one more fight before the first point cap comes out, and they are going to have tools to be able to go for the retake here. Meteor M and Eye of Agamotto both on deck. Soul Resurgence and Final Judgment online for Texas A&M.
Robotunes completely whiffs the Eye of Agamotto, hits nobody here. Texas A&M, though, they are trying to contend for this cap, like you mentioned. Really smart from ATU Green to just walk here. Final Judgment comes in. Unfortunately, on top of the Mantis ultimate, the overshield going into Chaos Nyx should allow them to completely tank the Meteor M, and he's just going to rip through ATU Green here. It doesn't matter that ATU walked to this point, because that first cap, that first point, going to go over to Texas A&M here off the back of Chaos Nyx and Han Solo, and they're going to be able to do that every single time, CB.
And it's good target prioritization from Chaos Nyx as well. Sees that Little Red Corvette, sees that little raccoon pal in the backline, and realizes they're probably coming up on that CYA. I should probably focus backline here if this Final Judgment does just that, and snuffs out the rocket before he's able to get that ultimate that could have potentially saved the rest of his team's life. But without that amplifier, there's no overhealth, no healing, no nothing that can stop the judge, the jury, the executioner. That is Chaos Nyx, but he needs to keep this tempo up. 2 minutes in the time bank. A good push there from Century Aces and Environmental onto Robotunes. You can see ATU, they understand, they have to respect that. That is their shield gone. They don't have space. They can't just tank all this damage from Chaos Nyx now.
Yeah, that's going to give Texas A&M a lot of free distance here. It's already rounded that second corner here. CYA does get used, and we're going to see that combined with the Kraken Impact. Unfortunately, he's just taking way too much damage, and that CYA doesn't get around the corner, so you've got to fight it in a defensive position. Gets taken out immediately. Love Squirrels instead. Gonna pop the Fate of Both Worlds. Meteor M from Asian Panda, unfortunately unable to get it down. Gets absolutely overloaded with too much damage. Century Aces, though, does pop the invisible boundary. Dizzard kindly responds. Eye of Agamotto from Robotunes lands onto 3. All strategists are hit by the Eye of Agamotto. Time has stopped, and that means the convoy has stopped for Texas A&M.
A minute 20 in the time bank. There's still an opportunity to try and brute force this the rest of the way, but ATU were able to hold on to some key resources. They didn't have the Kraken Impact or the Meteor M online just yet, but now they do, and they're going up against only a God of Thunder for Garlo. You have to try and build up to this next Final Judgment from Chaos Nyx. That was what was able to break the dam in your favor on point A. Oh, what a push again from Century Aces, and the Trooper's Fist as well. It's gonna get rezzed up. Okay, it's not as big of a deal as we thought. It's still beautiful as an Invis main to see that, but your boy Squeak is now just gonna come back pissed. What happened to Garlo?
He flung himself into the great rivers of the island here as your boy Squeak is going to take that as the initiative to go for the reset. And what looked so good for Texas A&M in the beginning, they just throw it all away.
Down to 30 seconds.
I don't know if Garlo got pushed off there by Dizzard on the other side, and it just didn't give the KO credit there, but Asian Panda gonna get felled there with a little bit of cleanup damage, and with 20 seconds left, ATU Green, they understand again, they just need to play this far up. They cannot let Texas A&M get to the point, but now those ultimates are gonna start to come online. The brute force gonna come out, and your boy Squeak has been felled, and there's no BRB this time.
No BRB, Final Judgment and Soul Resurgence available as well. This was the combo that won them that first point, and it looks like Texas A&M are going to go back to that well. They have to. They don't have another choice here. Shadvin does have the Meteor M available, but even at fully charged, it's not going to be able to take him down. Judge, Jury, Executioner does get popped. This is the team fight here. Unfortunately, doesn't take anyone out. Love Squirrels, though, has the fate of both worlds available. They can tank it with the CYA. Robotunes, unfortunately, does get pushed back. Only lands the Eye of Agamotto onto Garlo. And we're going to see Century Aces have that invisible boundary available, ready to pop if they need it. Lariat Donald as well, using that Eternal Bond. A beautiful team fight from Texas A&M. And this time, they throw everything in the kitchen sink, and it should land them with the second point.
God of Thunder now going to come out from Garlo for a little bit of extra cleanup there, but like you said, yeah, this should be point B coming out for ATU. Your boy Squeak, though, on the Hella, putting a little bit more damage and some daggers down range, and he used the bird to fly over there onto the point, and hasn't been dealt with, will finally get taken down, but there's a couple more reinforcements coming out. There we go, the point B cap now going to come through, and it's off the back of two critical mistakes that come out for the side of ATU. That final judgment that comes out from Chaos Nix forces a layering of the strategist ultimates. Love Squirrel and Little Red Corvette both pop their ults at the same time. You still have the invisible boundary from Dizzard, but the second mistake was they didn't protect the invis, so you were able to just go in with Garlo on that Thor, clean up that KO, and suddenly there's no defensive utility left, and Texas A&M are able to get another lease on life, but there is only a minute left on that life, and they need to try and make it stick, and Garlo might not be joining them if Robotunes has anything to say about it.
Robotunes swapping off of the Doctor Strange here, back onto the Rogue. Soul Resurgence at 70%. Chaos Nix does have that final judgment. So fast, you're just using on that last team fight. Shadvin does not have Meteor M available, though. He's going to get res back up by Little Red Corvette. It's still a 6v5 at the moment until he comes back here. Century Aces, like you mentioned, invisible boundary available. Final judgment here, and they're going to combo it instead without the Soul Resurgence. They're going to combo it with the final judgment here. There we go. Robotunes, though, with the Heartbreaker in the back line on top of the Legendary. Meteor M does get popped by Asian Panda, unfortunately, not able to land on anybody, and your boy Squeak is cleaning up the fight. He's gotten Chaos Nix and Century Aces in the back. 10 seconds left. Can somebody touch? Will they be able to get the TP off? Chaos Nix has swapped over to the Doctor Strange here, CB.
There is going to be a touch. We got the Eternal Bond and the God of Thunder both happening on the point there, but the TP is not going to be enough, and Shadvin is going to shut down the Eternal Bond with a Meteor M.
Where's the TP?
It looks so terrible right now for Texas A&M. Yeah, the TP is not where it needs to be. You need to get the soldiers to the front line, but both teleporters are there. Soul Resurgence, though, from Han Solo. There is still a chance for Texas A&M, and ATU, they don't have the tools to punish that mistake. They've lost their Luna Snow. It's going to be rezzed back up, but the momentum has swung back in Texas A&M's favor. They just need to hold on to it a little bit longer, and Garlo goes in deep to try and do just that.
Garlo playing with his life right now, trying to get back in here. Your boy Squeak at 75% on that Galactic Legend here. No ultimates available. This is as dry as a fight can be. Somebody needs to break. Somebody needs to budge here. Texas A&M trying to push it to overtime here. ATU, they want to go home. They're tired. They're hungry. They're sleepy. And your boy Squeak does have the Legendary available along with the Heartbreaker. This was the combo that won them the last team fight. Can they do it again? Nothing available. God of Thunder gets put down by Garlo. Your boy Squeak takes down Han Solo, and there we go. Little Red Corvette takes down Garlo. ATU Green, they want to go home. They want to end this. Time is on the slippery barrels here. Dizzard has the invisible boundary available. Little Red Corvette does take your boy Squeak back here. Lariat Donald, though, Eternal Bond here. CYA, this is where Little Red Corvette needs to come up big right now. This is the deciding moment.
There's going to be a lot more ults online coming out for Texas A&M, though. They have invisible boundary. Century Ace is going to pop it on the point to try and defend against the damage coming out from the CYA. Meteor M from Shadvin. The damage is there. Takes down Chaos Nix, but now the Meteor M from Asian Panda has to be bigger, and a Soul Resurgence is going to be coming out from Han Solo here very shortly, so it is a ticking time bomb still, and ATU have not been able to put this one to bed. Texas A&M, they just won't go away.
Soul Resurgence for Han Solo Hub kindly responded with the fate of both worlds. Meteor M, unfortunately, cannot land on anybody. Asian Panda whiffs, and all the meanwhile, your boy Squeak potentially has another Galactic Legend available along with the Heartbreaker for Robotunes. We're gonna go this song and dance one more time. Heartbreaker into the backline. Robotunes trying to put this game away. Your boy Squeak says, hold up, I've got one in the back pocket. Galactic Legend takes down two. They're still trying to contest this last sliver of overtime. Can and they put the game down. ATU Green struggling, and finally they take back control of the point. A 3-0 finish. ATU Green take the series.
There was, what more is there to say? We said it all twice. We ran through 2 entire team fights worth and 1 right there, and it was off of the back of some crazy plays on both sides. It's a 3-0, but Texas A&M at the midnight hour really made ATU work for that one. Your boy Squeak popping that Galactic Legend, and even ultless, the backline is able to patty cake around the Cloak and Dagger, the light explosions, the dagger storms, being able to just live through all of that and then win out the duel with that Cloak and Dagger. Lariat Donald able to win that one out and then come back with the Eternal Bond to buy a little bit more stall. I like to think if that strange TP had been as it needed to be, there might have been a chance for Texas A&M. They could have got those soldiers to the front line a little bit faster. They could have maybe kept the tempo going, but it just was never in their favor, especially once those Heartbreakers started to get layered on with the Galactic Legends, because that takes away the ult charge. That takes away the opportunity for someone like Chaos Nix to build up to that final judgment, try and be the difference maker in the way that your boy Squeak was the entire time. Hats off to Texas A&M for being so resilient at the end. That's the kind of Marvel Rivals that I love to see. But I got to put my hat right back on and then take it off again for ATU Green for a dominant showing, a 3-0, and a cinematic finish to Spider Islands.
I mean, that was immaculate from Texas A&M. The trickling in, understanding how to stall. I mean, they were living longer. They lived so long. Squeak and Robotunes got 2 full ultimates. Heartbreaker and Galactic Legend. Okay, Galactic Legend makes sense. DPS. Getting 2 Heartbreakers in a endgame team fight, absolutely nuts. Very well played from Texas A&M and ATU Green. Your curse is stronger than mine. 2 3-0 sweeps for Series 1 and Series 2. ATU Green move on to 1-0, and obviously Texas A&M move on to 0-1. But just like last series, right? I feel like both of these teams.
I just know what's going to happen is next week you and Vaudable are going to pick up these mics and you're going to get like 2 back-to-back bangers. You're going to have map 5s. You're going to be blowing out your vocal cords. I'm going to be sitting over here all mad. Like, I wish that were me. I wish I could cast 4 maps in a series just once.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Vaudable, I apologize. Again, I think your theory might be right, CB. It might be a week-to-week thing. Odd weeks, 3-0s. Even weeks, we get 5-game bangers here. But regardless, both teams did a very good job. Both series were very exciting. If anybody just looks at the box score, I think it tells a very different story from what we saw from both of these squads today. Very, very well played from these guys. ATU Green just coming out on top against Texas A&M, and obviously Albany coming out on top as well. But that'll do it from us. CB, any final words, shout-outs, anybody you want to thank?
I mean, my final words are that, hey, this is only the first week of the new semester, my friends. You know, whether you're Trent or whether you're Texas A&M, and, you know, maybe you're like, okay, we got swept 3-0. There's still time to course correct, and there's still a lot of potential for both of these squads to come correct and, you know, maybe take it to these teams. Maybe get the better of ATU. Maybe get the better of Albany next time we all square up. But next time you see us over here on the NECC channel is going to be tomorrow for some Rainbow Six and some Rocket League. I hope you are down for a little bit of that. If that ain't your bag, then maybe you can join us Thursday for a little bit of League of Legends. And, you know, Friday, we got a special treat for you as well. There's some Overwatch action to be had, so don't go anywhere all week long. NECC has got you covered for collegiate esports aplenty. And if today was anything to go off of, I'm sure it's going to be bangers all around.
Well, that's beautiful. Got the schedule, got the thanks, got everything. Shout out to our production, Chippy, Christina on the socials, and obviously reach that as our observer. But I've been Shibby. That's been CB. Thank you so much, and have a great, great rest of your night.